Start immediately. Did you snap your finger at the computer like it was like a bad dog or something?
Yes, I did.
Like, no, bad computer.
This comes from years of playing with computers, and sometimes you just got to yell at them. You got to punish them, and
Is that what you?
You just gotta show them who's boss.
totally. I got to spank them once in a while, and
Spank the. Is that our new code word? Is now computers? I'm just on the computer. If you're in a bathroom, leave me alone. God, I'm on the computer.
Checking out the internet.
were you guys geeks at all, or am I the only big geek here?
I mean,
You're a video game geek.
Yeah, I beat some kids up. I'll admit it.
All right, I got beaten up.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
I didn't
It
beat
happened.
anybody up. I just verbally destroy people whenever I can on video games. There's at least a lot of kids who have low self-esteem because of my video gaming. I tell them some terrible things.
So do you yell at like 14-year-olds like on the mic? Like,
No, I don't
as you're
yell.
shooting them?
I don't yell. I tell them that they, as a gamer, their parents would be so disappointed in their existence and would be ashamed to have had them because of how terrible they are. And they probably should stop video gaming and living at the same exact time.
Wow.
Some people are just
pretty harsh.
Some people are just terrible people.
Yeah. Defending my high score on asteroids, I thought was a big deal, but apparently,
Don't play me in Apex Legends. I will lose my mind.
Have you been to the Cobra arcade bar?
I have.
What do you think of it?
I think it's a great idea.
I think it is too. I wish the one problem I've had is there's times when I've been there and some of the games haven't been working.
Ah, that's interesting.
I think.
I mostly just go for the taco trucks outside. And I'll get
Do
a
they
quick
do
game.
regular taco trucks there?
Yeah.
I've only been there a couple times and I was kind of stuck inside the whole time.
I love video game bars, but there's some of those games with how old they are, you think they would break down, and where are you going to get the parts for them?
I'm pretty sure they have a full-time maintenance guy who's good at
You
what
got
they're
it,
doing.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's probably that complex of a game to rebuild a couple circuit boards and that's about it. I mean, I've been to a couple pinball places and those are really easy to fix up, which are fun.
See, those get beaten up even worse because when you're playing, you're hitting it and then you're shaking it. You're trying to put it on tilt or keep.
Right.
I mean,
People put their drink on it and it slides off and spills.
So I bought a claw machine for Taco Fest a couple years ago because the idea was to put a bunch of T-shirts in the claw machine and people put like $1 in, try and win a T-shirt. It, of course, breaks like an hour into the festival. So I find this guy, we just call him Pinball Randy, and he's just on call at the festival, ready to fix the claw machine. And he can like fix it in a heartbeat because like he just knows how to fix claw machines, this guy.
that's a pretty specialized job, though. I mean, you got to think about. I mean, that's like having like being a master plumber or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, they're like the one specialty that people are really good at.
We were talking about the Rooster Bar earlier.
Yeah.
I love the fact that their T-shirt bar is like almost
Yeah,
the
it's
old
a
school
vending machine. Right.
almost like the old cigarette machines.
So Jason, if you're listening and if you need a guy to fix that, I have Randy. Pinball Randy.
Pinball Randy.
He'll fix your vending machine.
Is that actually his card? Says like Pinball Randy.
I don't know if I ever got a card from the guy. I just found him through the channels. I noticed that like
we got an AC guy.
I tend to
we
be
got
the
plumber
guy
guy,
that people
pinball
call
guy.
like, I need somebody to fix my vending machine. Do you got a guy?
Well, with all the stuff you do with the festivals, you have probably a lot of guys.
It's weird.
That sounds weird. Do you think video game video?
Yes.
A lot of guys. Do you think a video game like arcades or bars like that are popular outside of America?
Yes.
Arcade bars.
Arcade
Right.
bars? Is that what we call them, arcade bars?
Not necessarily. I don't know about arcade bars because arcading, like the old school, put a quarter in was just very big in America. I don't know how big it was outside of America. I know pinballs
Was
were
it
big.
only big in America? Do you know that for a fact? Or
I
Like,
know.
do they have video game bars in France or Italy?
But I
Or
have-
they just drink like normal human beings?
So
I was gonna say they're all adults there, so they probably just enjoy drinking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we need to like do something.
there was a
Right?
there was a bar that my brother took me to called La Fin du Monde something, and it was a gaming bar that has 3 levels. The lower level was very like Game of Thrones-esque. They actually had the Game of Thrones throne in it.
Okay.
The middle level was old school board games, and it kind of had this feel. I'll show you the pictures of it.
Yeah.
It had this feel of like a Sherlock Holmes kind of thing, and there was like the walls were just these dark wood covered with games. And then the bathrooms, we were just talking about bathrooms. They had 2 urinals in the men's room. There were also built-in duck hunt urinals. And it said, pee at the little red square to start the game, and there's a little thing above you. So you start peeing, and then all of a sudden ducks start shooting in the air on the screen in front of you, and you're going, whoop, 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 trying to hit them.
Dude, that sounds like the most fun you could ever
You have
have.
Until that one duck goes really on the edge of the urinal and you
Right.
spray him and
Like-
hit your neighbor.
Like we were just talking about ice in men's urinals. There's something so gratifying about taking a piss in some ice, and I don't know why.
But-
so playing duck hunt and pissing, I can't even
literally-
imagine how
literally,
gratifying
you're,
that is.
You just see these guys in the bathroom like shimmying and shaking, like trying to like play this urinal game. And as soon as I was horrible the first time at it, and then I got out of the urinal, and the first thing I could think of is I need to drink more beer because I want to play again.
I love it. It's good for sales.
It actually made me consume more
Right.
because I wanted to go pee again.
Whoever thought of that, it's way smarter than the arcade bar idea.
I wonder if the women have a version though, or if there's bathrooms just boring as hell.
I mean, theirs smell way better, is way fancier. They keep it clean usually, so I think that's the joy of a woman's bathroom.
Right, they're just
probably.
luxuriating.
They're
in there.
luxurious. It's like a spa, basically.
What's your opinion on the bathroom attendant?
That's outdated and weird.
I think it's weird.
So
Some
weird.
places still have them. Like,
Dude, the worst are like when you go to a club and there's like a guy in there and they've got, all their stuff out and he's just handing you towels and you're like, dude, what? Like, I'm not gonna give you money.
And
Totally.
But then I feel weird.
They hoard the towels. Like they'll pull them all out of the towel.
so you have no choice
I
but
have
to take a towel
but
from the
take one.
guy.
Yeah.
Right. Now you just paid a buck.
It's so much worse because sometimes you just want to leave and not wash your hands and now you're being judged. Oh God, it's terrible.
So two takes on it. One, I like it in a club for the reason of you can get some mints, you can get some gum, spray a little cologne on. They offer a service that is very useful when you're trying to go out and meet the opposite sex per se. But there's a restaurant I know in Vegas that's off the strip that has a guy that sits in the bathroom, and it's just an Italian restaurant. Like I'm sitting there eating pasta, I'm sitting there, using the urinal, and then I walk up to the sink, and this guy has the stack of freaking towels, and he's like hoarding them. It's like, do I have to pay you $1 to get a freaking hand towel? It's like,
Right.
I'll wipe it on my pants. Bye.
Right.
It's
What
so
what
weird.
cologne you rocking in the bathroom attendant?
The blue bottle.
Fahrenheit 451, where
Yeah, maybe.
cool water.
I love the people that buy like the Swisher Cool. The aftershave, yeah.
You just said it and I can smell it. It's like that was incredible. Like all of a sudden I just had to sneeze.
Oh God.
See,
Maybe you're bad for the attendant too, because then he's in there just
Dude, that
dealing
guy-
with a whole bunch of crap the entire single time. And I'm
I
like,
just want to say to the guy, dude, there's a lot of other jobs, I'm sure.
there's a
that you-
lot of other jobs.
But maybe he's having
I went to college with a guy that was a bathroom attendant.
80K a
and
year probably.
he
The guy's
made
doing all right.
so much money.
Yeah.
He'd show up at my house and he'd pull this wad out like this. It's all ones. But he'd be like, yeah, I just made $450 tonight.
and
Like,
all cash.
yeah, but there's a lot of like gross hands that are now touching that money that they're handing to you, because I guarantee they're probably just like, oh shit, here's money, versus washing your hands and then giving them money.
Right. I never wash my hands when I use the bathroom.
We just talked about
anyway,
urinals for quite a bit there.
well, that's a big deal. I mean, we're talking about what to do in different, spaces around the country. And if you
important.
and if you were to open a restaurant, what would you do? If I had a video game bar, I'd have duck hunt in the bathroom.
Oh, that's a fantastic idea. With ice on it too. Maybe the ice cubes light up as you go for the certain ice cubes. There's an idea for you.
I mean, when it comes to restaurants, bathrooms are something that some restaurateurs just completely forget about and how important it is.
Yeah.
If it, like we were saying, if it smells weird, if it has the music's too loud or no music at all, or
This might turn off some of the female listeners, but men's room urinals at Hillstone, Houston's, was the first place that I saw a cage underneath the urinal. So for splash, it doesn't end up on the ground. It just, you're like on this grating. So you're not like standing in splash.
Interesting. All right, I can see that.
I never.
But somebody thinks about everything at Houston's, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that somebody thought about that.
You think they
like-
would just make the urinals have some type of material that when it hits the back, it doesn't come flying back out, like rubber?
That's got to get invented.
Well, I've never figured out how to use a urinal in all my life because
You got to find that
do you take
sweet
your pants
spot
down
and
and sit on it?
I've never figured out the right angle to not splash. Whether I'm going forward, down, left, right, in the hole, to the side, in the little. I mean,
Yeah, there's like a sweet spot. It's like
I've
it's
never
like
found
pitching
it.
a baseball. You got to find that corner. It's like
I've spent my whole life.
that. It's like catching that groove so that it gets in the hole, just straight down
Yeah.
into the
Oh, that's so.
I've thought about this for 40 years now.
Meanwhile, there's a lot of listeners who just don't use urinals because they're too afraid to, so they go straight into the actual thing and shut the door.
right.
Ugh.
So,
The sit
so-
downers.
let's talk about wine.
Let's talk about wine on that segue.
That's a good introduction.
I'm sorry for
the
what
first-
I'm doing to your podcast.
First
you
time
guys.
we've
I'm
ever
really
gone there.
Really sorry.
Oh, that was fun, man. That was fantastic. No, this is perfect. So we have David on today talking about food festivals while we drink some Italian wine because he brought over pizza. And what better to go with pizza than Italian wine?
You kind of are like, instead of what was his name, Pinball
Pinball Randy.
you're Food Festival Dave
Thank you.
in a way. Yeah.
I guess.
Well, that's what.
Yeah, I'll own it.
That's kind of how I've always even thought of you. I mean, you're the guy that throws the food festivals in town.
Right.
I mean, some people know
good
me as
reputation.
they know me as the wine guy in town. Like people
Could be the bathroom attendant guy.
That's not the title I want.
Nobody wants.
But $80K a year cash. I'll
Yeah.
take it. And look at those hours. I mean, you could hold down a full-time job outside of that job.
And then
You'd be
make
sitting-
a ton of money after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it always ends in bathroom talk.
I know it's always going to do that.
We're gonna keep going back to this. I can feel it.
So for a while, I thought that I was just the taco guy instead of food festival guy, because Taco Festival is the biggest of the food festivals that I did. And I'm not with Taco Fest anymore, as you know. And I went through this weird phase where I thought, well, God, if I'm not the taco guy, who am I?
Who are you? You're having an existential
Am
crisis.
I the pizza guy? Like, I don't know. Am I not a donut guy? I mean, I like donuts. I don't know that I want to be the donut guy.
Yeah.
I was.
You don't have the physique for the donut guy.
Right. I was definitely going to say the donut guy wears his calories a little bit more than I do.
So I was in New Mexico at a wine dinner once, and the guy sitting next to me told me that he is a professional donut taster, and that's his job. And I
Right.
literally looked at him. I go, "Yeah, ha, 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 ha. What do you really do?" He goes,
Right.
"No, I taste donuts professionally around the world, and I get paid to do it."
Huh.
He's the Robert Parker of donuts.
Excellent.
And then he pulls a business card out, and no shit, that's what he does.
Where's
And
this guy?
He lives in New Mexico, and he literally just travels the world tasting donuts at independent shops. He's paid to give his feedback on donuts. You probably want him for your festival.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I'll get his card. I think I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Need this guy's info.
I bet you I could pull him off my Facebook, because I'm pretty sure I was like, I got to look this guy up and see what he truly does. Because
Right.
I talk a lot. I try and convince people the world is flat, and I try and convince people moon landings don't happen. I like to BS people just to
Right,
see if I
right.
could convince somebody. And I literally was like, this guy is just trying to convince me that he's a professional donut taster.
Right.
And he wasn't fat. So
Right. So I wasn't a nerd. Like I beat kids up when I was a kid, when I was younger. But I've definitely become a food nerd, like one of these people where when I take a bite of something, I definitely overanalyze it, like I'm sure a lot of us do. It gets kind of annoying after a while. You're like, I just want to enjoy this slice of pizza, but instead I got to, does it have flop? Does the cheese slice? How's it designed? How's the crust?
Is it
the sauce too
technically a
sweet?
toast or not?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Is it a sandwich? I don't know. Isn't everything a sandwich?
I think that's the part of becoming a professional taster that just happens. Because as I got farther into the wine business, food started tasting very different to me. You know, after 10 years of tasting wines and analyzing wines, I taste something that has too much rosemary, and my brain goes, that has too much rosemary. Or I taste something else and I go, oh,
much salt.
That has dill and that has this herb. Great food tastes even better and bad food tastes even worse.
Right.
Because you've honed your palate. Oh, your palate
Right.
is like a muscle. You know, I don't have a lot of muscles, but I know where my muscles lie, and it's in my palate.
Ladies.
my muscles are in my palate.
That's what it should say on your card. Damien, professional wine taster, muscles in my palate.
Very muscular palate.
We got to add this to our shirts for
Yeah.
the shop, because we're going to have a lot of fun
I don't
shirts.
need
and
a
whatnot.
six-pack when my muscles are in my mouth.
This is going to be this kind of episode. Drink a little Lambrusco, and this is what happens to a bunch of dudes.
Let's talk about the Lambrusco in a can, because that is the perfect pizza festival wine right there.
So, first of all, have you had many canned wines?
Only a couple. And here's what I like about this one, the size. A lot of them are a full, like 2 glasses. So like in a festival scenario, it's like, I don't
Walk
really
around.
want 2 glasses.
Yeah.
You know?
That was actually something I was reading some stuff about canned wines, trying to get some stats on canned wines. And the 250 milliliters is like the size that people are gravitating towards, because it is like that perfect glass.
Right.
My buddy who sells this actually has this wine on the ferry that goes from Vashon Island over to Seattle.
oh, nice.
And he tried to order it. He's like, hey, can I have that Frico Lambrusco? And they're like, the what? And he's like, the can over there. She goes, oh, the pig butt wine. Because of the can.
Right.
He's got pig butt.
And he's just like, yeah. She goes, everyone loves the pig butt wine.
Right.
Dude, it's so good.
But part of this is marketing too, because one, the younger clientele is gravitating towards cans and alternate packaging. You can have just 1 or 2 of these cans. If you are a soccer mom and you want to bring something to a game to, you know, while your kids are going out and getting dirty and messing around, you can't bring this. You can, but then
You're that mom.
Then you're that mom.
Versus you
Right.
bring a 4-pack, or was this a 6-pack individual?
These are 4-packs,
So how many ounces are in a can of this?
250 milliliters.
So what is that? I don't do.
I don't know. I don't know freedom numbers.
Again,
too often.
I'm no nerd. I
roughly-
beat kids up.
It's 8. It's 8 ounces.
8 ounces. So that's like a
Ish.
good.
Yeah.
That's a good glass of wine.
It's
That's
yeah,
a
little
healthy
bit more,
glass.
yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So
It's perfect too, because I mean, this is you feel like Andre the Giant walking around with it, but you can drink this thing.
Right. And Lambrusco's got this like effervescence.
A little bit of carbonation.
So, do you know what the most famous Lambrusco ever was?
I do not.
Riuniti. You know it.
Reuniti.
Nice.
nice.
It's so nice. These were the commercials.
One of the best commercials.
Totally.
Okay, I'll believe you.
But Riuniti became very popular because it was also a little more sweet. They served it and they promoted it to serve it on ice, and it became very popular in the 80s.
Oh, I can imagine.
And then it completely died off. And the category is a very tough category. In Italy, Lambruscos are done dry. It's a dry, sparkling red wine. So
I love America. We just add sugar to everything and make it popular as hell.
I read an article just recently about how there's Chianti producers that are trying to sweeten their Chiantis for the American market. And I'm like, don't fucking do it. Don't do it.
I just had a friend in from Guadalajara, and she was saying that all of your food tastes sweet.
Yeah, the
in
amount of
America.
sugar that's
like
on
to
it.
her, she was like, she felt bloated and like this whole thing because of all the sugar.
Our milk. There's a lot of sugar in our milk. If you drink milk in Europe, it's way different. Or butter. Butter in Europe is so different than
bread
it is here.
is sweet out here.
Yeah.
However, bread
Well-
you buy has sugar in it.
Was it Lauren Saria, I believe, was talking about the... it was the unsalted bread, I think is what she was talking about.
Oh yeah. They didn't have salt in Italy on their bread, which she thought was terrible. I don't know. It's things like
I
that.
could see
don't
how that
know,
would
so,
ruin
yeah.
bread.
But I mean, if you think about like what America's known for, it's barbecue and sugar, probably when it comes to food.
Right.
But if they serve these at a concert, they serve these at games. I mean, this would be so perfect in so many situations. On the ferry coming across, oh my God, I want a glass of wine. You don't. I mean, technically, you don't. You could drink it right out of the can.
Yeah.
Now, what's nice about this is a little bit of effervescence, a little sparkling. And I'll tell you, out of everything we had with the pizza, I tried. You showed up with pizza today.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the pizza here in a minute. But out of all of them, I tried the pizza with all 3 of these wines. I liked it the best with this.
Dude, it was the best one.
Yeah. And I was saying, I think it cuts through the grease nice, and so like you could have any type of pizza, like a loaded meat lover's pie with like sausage and bacon and the whole thing, and that would hold up.
Also, a big problem with sparkling wines is if you don't drink the whole bottle, it's flat. Even if you put one of those pressurized stoppers on there, it doesn't hold up.
Right.
Selling Lambrusco for years, if I showed it to 2 accounts, the next day it was now a still red wine. It was no longer sparkling. Or even sometimes behind the bar, if you poured it for 2 people, later on that night, it might be flat. So now you're serving a substandard product. Whereas a can, it's perfect. I mean,
So this classifies that, like, would you serve this in a flute? Because it's
I
sparkling?
wouldn't.
You wouldn't. So,
I don't like flutes at all.
Yeah.
Play the clarinet.
but this would classify as a sparkling, right? Right, totally. I know, right, totally.
But even my
didn't
champagne,
catch that.
when I drink champagne, I drink it out of a wine glass. I don't put it in a flute.
But the reason I ask is Vino Verde, for instance, has like a similar effervescence to this,
Yeah.
right? But not a sparkling wine. And that, to me, the next day, if I put it in the fridge, it's no good.
It's flat.
Yeah,
It's it loses all form of bubbles.
Right.
And they make fancy Prosecco stoppers, which, they seal down, and when you pop it, it makes a big loud noise. But when you pour the product, it's still often flat.
Right.
I'm intrigued by just like where, if in America, everywhere the cans were like being done, where would be the biggest places and best place for us? Festivals make sense because you don't want glass being thrown around by for any means. Baseball or, sporting outings in general, like the Phoenix Rising one after they had their incident with a can. But then like a beach, always perfect because now you can start bringing these now. Because like my grandpa would always bring down bottles of wine, throw it in the cooler. But then like there was one time they said, no, you can't have glass on the beach. You got to get rid of it or pound that thing right there. But if you have all these cans, then that's the perfect place for it.
So-
because nobody's going to show up to like a fancy restaurant with a can kind of a thing.
Well, in 2012, the United States sold less than $2 million in canned wine. This past year, the number was 70 million in canned wine sales.
I mean, that opens up the door to so many glasses and so many things you can do with cans.
It was up 69% over the year before. So every year they're getting more and more popular.
And they're great for the environment.
It's easy recycling.
True, they do recycle.
You know,
Right.
they're putting stuff in alternate packages.
Just
they're getting
rust back to the
Tetra
environment.
packs,
Gotcha, right,
which
yeah.
are like juice boxes, like the old school juice boxes.
Yeah, right.
Or they have them almost like Capri Sun, but the Capri Sun looking package is plastic.
Right.
And whereas the Tetra packs are a biodegradable paper.
Right.
You know, but something like, I mean, if it's in a can or a bottle, it's pretty biodegradable. Not biodegradable,
Yeah, true.
but
Yeah, I
pretty
know what you mean.
recyclable.
You can do something with it. I love them.
It's so easy. And if I had a bar, to be honest, I would rather have these behind the bar and then pour it for somebody because I know that they're getting a fresh product with every single glass. And I'm not wasting anything.
Very little waste.
Because
Less waste.
It's a one-time run, but you're also pouring 2 extra ounces.
the amount of shit you pour down the drain when you're serving in a wine bar, because you taste the wine the next day and it's rubbish. We had a very high-end cab that we took home last week from a trade show, and we tried it the next day and it was pure vinegar.
It was bad. Like, it should not have been that bad.
Right.
It didn't even just like slightly get bad. It was, we took one sip and went, no way, and drained that, which is weird because at least most will kind of linger for a day or two, or in some cases, like the Washington ones we had made it 3 days and they were fine. That one was just absolute.
So is
dog
that
shit.
something a winemaker can do? Like, is that a fuck up on the winemaker's part to make a wine that goes bad so fast? Like, who's responsible for that?
I don't even know.
There's
You
a
know?
lot to play in there, whether it's the right amount of sulfites to kind of help it last a little bit, whether it's the right amount of skin time and there's enough tannin in there. If there was zero acidity in it, it's going to be flabby anyways. But this just turned south too quick.
And not to say it, but also if you think about it, at a public tasting, or say it's a 4-hour tasting, so you got the bottle and you're constantly pouring it little sips at a time, so you're basically decanting it
Right.
over and over and over and over again. So that wine has been super infused with air.
Right.
And then you took it home and it sat there with all that air inside of it that, I mean, there could have been a lot of factors.
Right.
I know when I drive around with wine in my car, it opens up faster because it's constantly bouncing around.
Right. You decanted this thing like 87 times, I saw.
I decanted each one of them. I thought they were a little tight.
Okay.
With my own palate. For me, when a wine is tight, it's like a closed fist. I know there's fruit there. I know there's flavor there.
Right.
But it was just restrained. It was hiding behind a wall, and I wanted to break that wall down. I typically don't like to decant my wines. I like foreplay in my wines. I don't want to go from A to D without a little B and C in the middle.
Right.
And that's when I drink wines. I enjoy that. I'd like to see how they open up, how they progress, what kind of personality it has.
See a hyper decant?
I do a little cowboy decant.
You watching Succession?
No.
You know that show on it's on HBO?
No.
The guy who
I know
was
that,
the guy who was Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
plays like one of the kids in this really rich family, like a media family, and he's like blending. He's put his wine in a blender.
Totally.
It's
I've seen it happen.
Do you hyper decant?
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that's what it's called, but yeah.
So we call cowboy decanting is when I just stick my thumb in it and I just give it a shake. And we've done that on the show
I'm
before.
way too nervous to do something like
Shaky
that.
shake, yeah.
Give it a little shaky shake and it opens up really well. I mean, we've done it for a couple different people on the show.
It works, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All you're doing is adding air into the bottle.
Got it.
Because they have those fancy devices like a Venturi where you pour it through and it's got like little holes in the side and it sucks air in, or a decanter, or there's one where it's
It's like a pen you put in. And
like a fish stone.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like the stone from a fish tank with like a pump on top of it. You put in there and squeeze it and it adds a bunch of bubbles.
there's a million
Bunch of
gimmicks out
gimmicky
there.
devices out there. All you need is a blender. Really, all you need is your thumb.
Time.
You could really put your wine in a blender, and that would.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Try it
trying
one
that.
time. Next time you do it, open up a nice bottle, then pull out your second bottle and be like, all right, throwing it in there.
We were recording with somebody on the show, and we poured a glass of the wine, and then I stuck my thumb in it, and I gave it a shaky shake, and then I poured a second glass side by side, and we were tasting them, and they taste like two separate wines. Completely.
crazy.
Yeah.
Next week, I'm doing a blind tasting with all Mexican beers. Because I've never. Like, what Mexican beer do you like the best?
What makes a beer Mexican?
Well, like any.
Does it have to be from Mexico?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like a Corona, Tecate,
Okay.
like any of those. I have no idea which one I actually like. Because it's like I'm in a mood for a Corona or I'm in a mood for a Negra Modelo.
Tecate
Which
Light.
one is my favorite? So I'm going to sit down. I have every bottle and just blind taste test and just which one do I like the taste of?
We had one recently. It was a 750, and it was made from a guy who lived in Champagne, learned to make champagne, came back to Mexico and made it. And I can't remember the name of it. I'll find a picture of it. Dude, it was absolutely fantastic beer, but it was like this much beer and this much foam in it by the time, and then it took forever to settle back down. It was fantastic. I imagine just like most things, the stuff that gets imported into America is not going to be the quality product.
No, but
that
I'm
you
still
get.
just curious which do I really like Corona? You know, like if I sat down and in a blind tasting, what would I think of Corona? Because like those particular beers, you're so impacted by brand.
Now, are you going to have somebody pour it in a glass in the back room and then put them in front of you? Are they going to be wrapped in plastic or wrapped in foils, or how are you going to do this? Because I could
Corona immediately.
I can cheat, and my brain will cheat with wines. When I blind taste wines, if it comes out and it's a white wine and it's in a Chardonnay looking bottle, I'm instantly my brain's gonna go, it's Chardonnay. If you look at it, you see the neck as you're pouring it, you're gonna be like, oh, that's Corona. Oh, that's Negro Modelo. Like that short little stubby bottle, you kind of know what they are.
All of them go into a pint glass with tape on the bottom with the name of the beer.
Okay.
I'll close my eyes. Somebody will reshuffle. It's that simple.
And the reason why I also asked about what makes a Mexican beer, I wasn't trying to be dumb.
I know.
There's a brewery up the street that has a fantastic Mexican lager.
Sure.
And it's it's called their Senor Gallo.
Yes, that is the best.
It is the best
so
Mexican lager I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's made here in.
I'd be intrigued to see.
It's made in Taco Row. That's what
Right.
we call
Well, it's
this.
like an English pub beer. What do they call it? English strong bitter
Then again,
ESBs.
this neighborhood also is more Mexican than parts of Mexico. So
This neighborhood, yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, like,
Sure.
I
That's
mean,
why I
when was
feel
the
so
last
at
time
home
you were
here.
at a brewery in Mexico? Like, I've honestly never seen a brewery. Now, granted, I've only been to a few places, mostly being tourist areas. But like the breweries down there, are they doing lagers, pales? Are they doing an IPA in Mexico? Like, because they're probably not growing a lot of hops in Mexico. So, what styles of beers are they making down there?
Right. I think it's. I would guess it's exactly what we're drinking.
Just light
like the
beers?
Victorias, the Modelos of the world.
I wonder though, because
Victoria's Mexican? I thought it was Canadian.
No, isn't it?
I thought Victoria was Canadian. Literally, because there's a town called Victoria right across from Vancouver.
Pretty sure it's Mexican beer.
All right.
I could be wrong.
We'll look it up later.
Yeah, right.
But
Please excuse us for 5 minutes while we Google.
Fuck you.
example, people think of Italy, they think of Peroni, or they think of Germany, they think of certain types of beers, but the breweries there make a lot of different styles. I'm
Right.
sure that if you're at a brewery in Mexico City, they're going to have some crazy beers, some really fun stuff. We just see the beach beers.
Good point.
Yeah, the hotel beers.
Just
Right.
like,
Right. The mini bar beers. The Coronitas.
well, Japanese beers, there was a lot of people think of stuff like Asahi, but Asahi has,
Kirin.
but Asahi makes a black, and it's fucking delicious. It's called Asahi Black, and only a couple bars in town used to have it, and I used to go to those bars just because they had Asahi
Right.
Black. And it was like a porter that they made.
Right.
You don't
Like, do I like the Buddha beer? I don't know. I think I just like it because it's in the Buddha
little
bottle.
Buddha bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like. So like, I'd love to try it, not in the Buddha bottle, and decide if I like it.
That's a good point, yeah, because then you see the bottle and you automatically go, I'm going to like that because I know it already.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I never really thought about that. But
I'm that way with tasting wines. You tell me what I'm tasting, I'll taste it immediately, but I wouldn't be able to tell you.
That's the thing about wine is subjective. That's why I'm intrigued to see, like, okay, so we're talking about the Pizza Fest. I would like to be blind tasted on pizzas because I feel like if I knew the name of the pizzeria it was coming from, I'd immediately be like, well, I know I'm going to like this because I know that pizza brand or something like that. Versus if you just kind of like, is the Pizza Festival going to be trucks or is it just like they're setting up a tent, bringing in an oven, and they're making it on the spot?
All the above.
Okay,
So some people put a delivery car in rotation. So the pizza that I brought tonight, like it's a New York slice that travels well. So somebody can just cook 10 or 12 pizzas at a time in the restaurant, send a car on a 30-minute rotation just delivering pizzas.
Okay.
Right, and they'll sell those. Some people have wood-fired ovens. Some people are food trucks. Some people are there in the neighborhood and they can just almost walk them over.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little mix.
Because we had the one, what was the one from Flagstaff we just had? Because
Pizzicletta.
they brought down the wood oven or the brick oven, basically. Same thing with the one in front of Ren. They brought in their little.
Pizzicletta brought his oven down here.
he's got a mobile. He has a mobile one now.
For what?
So he did a wine event with Jack's and Y3 Winery at Phoenix Wine up on Shea and the
I should have
101.
known about that.
Yeah, so Caleb was down here with a couple of his buddies, and they banged out 99 pizzas that night in like 3 hours. And they're little. It wasn't wood fired. I think it was gas fired, but it was the dome.
It was still the dome.
Yeah, it was because he's all about the Italian, like
Yeah.
the real dome. So he had a little mobile version.
Dude, I got to hit that guy up. And that math plays perfect because at Pizza Fest, most people who have a mobile wood-fired oven, it's a 6-hour event, do 250 pizzas in
That's
6
crazy.
hours. So that's 100 pizzas
He did
in
99.
3 hours.
He did 99, I
Yeah.
think, in 3 hours. Was
Yeah,
the
so
tasting?
that
Yeah,
math
because it
is-
came in and said I
that
got
is-
99 pizzas exactly.
Yeah.
Almost hit that 100 one. What? How many people how many pizza companies are going to be at the pizza festival?
I usually end up with about 20,
Okay.
give or take.
Doing one,
know?
2, 3 pizzas, 5 pizzas?
Yeah, usually 3. So I ask them to sell at least one slice, priced $2 to $4. But most people kind of stick in that range anyway. So they'll do a slice of cheese for 2 to 3 and like a loaded slice for 4.
Okay.
That sort of thing. They'll sell whole pizzas, the whole as well. And so the number of vendors that I have determines my attendance. It's pretty easy to sell tickets to a pizza festival because when you put the words pizza and festival together, people are like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm going.
And where are you doing this one at this
Hands
year?
Park, downtown Phoenix.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Then obviously, like you'll have like booze down there as well.
Yeah,
little
right.
canned wines maybe.
I think we're working with Arizona Wilderness to do
Nice.
the beer. Yeah. And yeah, still talking about the wine, but definitely canned wine, most likely. I just said definitely, most likely. I recognize that.
I mean, it most likely definitely travels well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it's full festival, you know?
So when is it?
November 16th. It's a Saturday.
So just one day.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
your other
11 to
some
5.
of your other festivals were multiple days, right?
Yeah, Taco Fest grew into 2 days because there was a demand for it.
It got huge though too. I mean,
Yeah.
you had
That was a
100
big
plus
festival.
vendors out there,
close
didn't you?
to 40,000 people would go to that event.
That's
so crazy. About 60 taco vendors who would collectively sell about 150,000 tacos over 2 days.
Ouch.
It's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So nuts.
Because I went to those a few years, and I remember like at some point, sometime, always having that food coma right in the middle. It'd be like, I don't know how many tacos I ate, but it was definitely almost a whole animal at this point.
Right.
So
It was
how many?
always nice to- yeah.
So do you have all your vendors already lined up for the festival, or are you still locking some up?
Yeah,
and-
so the deadline to sign up is October 1st, and everybody will sign up September 31st.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I've got like 4 vendors signed up right now.
Sounds about
And it's
right.
always at this point where I'm like, oh my God, is anybody going to sign up? But the deadline is not till October 1st. Same thing with tickets. Taco Fest, we would sell like 600 tickets online before the event, and I'd lose sleep the night before going like, oh my God, nobody's coming to Taco Fest this year. And then there's 39,000 people at the gate. Like, ready. Yeah, I'm exaggerating.
But it's funny. That's how
Yeah.
it works. When we do the Arizona Wine Growers Association stuff, they only sell so many tickets for like what was Festival at the Farm. Now it's the Grand or some of these other things. And
Right.
everybody panics. Where are they all at? And people
Yeah.
just, nobody bothers to RSVP or
We're-
whatever, and they just show up.
We are such a last minute town.
Yes.
This town just totally, we wake up and decide what we're going
Google,
to do
what's
that
going
day.
on today? Oh, festival. Cool. All right, let's go.
That's this town.
That's me.
Right. Yeah, I'm guilty of it.
all the time.
I see more invites to Facebook that I don't even do anything, and I just go.
Usually I'll literally text you. I'm like, hey, what are you doing tonight at 4 o'clock? Oh, let's go to this.
Yeah, let's go do this thing.
Things are starting to sell out though, which is getting tricky for
a good
people like
sign.
us who don't plan,
But that's good.
you know, because there's been things that I've wanted to go to, like just dinners, like wine pairing dinners and whatnot. And then it's
Yeah.
like, no tickets available. It's like, shit, I wanted to go to that.
So how does this festival work with the booze? Because of course my brain instantly goes to the booze. So are they stuck behind a little area that they have to go and drink the booze at?
No,
Or can
you
they
kidding?
run-
Come
like-
on.
I know. I have to ask this because
That whole thing off.
yeah.
Exactly. So it's called a special event liquor license. So I partner with a group called Downtown Phoenix Inc. and they hold my liquor license for the weekend, and then the whole event is fenced, and then you can get a drink and walk around. So I just did a
That's great.
French fry festival in the spring.
Nice.
And Gracie's Tax Bar sponsored our bar, so we had all Gracie's servers out there. They brought the vibe and like, you know, slung all of our drinks. They were just like such a great partner because it was like an indie music festival along with the French fry thing. So Gracie's, have you guys been to Gracie's Tax Bar?
I haven't.
Oh my God, it's like this great dive bar on 7th Avenue.
That's why.
It is incredible.
Live on the other side of the valley.
I feel like that'd be almost like a stoner festival too, like the French fry one.
We did it on 420 because it was on a Saturday. Literally,
Get fried.
420, that's the name of the
Was it
festival.
really?
It was called Fried, French Fry Music
That's
Festival.
awesome.
So he's the hashtag Get Fried. So the thing was 420 was on a Saturday, and I was thinking,
Perfect.
What's the greatest munchie? Like if you're stoned, what could you just eat?
They have tater tots too. Are
It was-
tater tots technically a French fry?
They fall in the category, in my opinion.
I think they do.
That's a
Our
debate.
tater tots French fries.
Let's call Lauren Saria. She'll put it on the board.
Yeah, Lauren, that's another one.
Can I use the lifeline?
Our
Can I
fries.
phone a friend?
Tots.
No, our tots fries.
Our tots fries.
Regis, I'd like to phone a friend.
Yeah, that's interesting. French fries are definitely not tots, but tots could be fries.
Because waffle fries are just 25 fries smashed together.
Do
So
you
it's not
think-
one fry,
All right,
it's
so,
fries.
Ingo's, Ingo's, the
Yeah.
burger shop, 40th and Camelback. They do smashed potatoes, and I think they call them fries.
Smash fries.
It's not a fry.
Yeah, it has to be a form of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's mashed potatoes that are slightly crispy, right?
What about like dino fries?
What are dino fries?
So, like French fries that look like dinosaurs.
Isn't that a chicken nugget, basically?
Well, they have chicken nuggets too that are shaped
a
like
nugget?
that. Yeah.
Well, it's like steak. There's steak fries.
I had to cook
waffle
those. I had to
fries.
cook those for my friend's daughter recently. He's like, we're cooking food, and he's like, can you throw these in the oven? I'm like, what are they? He's like, they're dino fries.
Well, you just did the fry food. What was the best French fries?
The best French fry.
Doesn't even have to be brand. Was it like certain waffle fries?
It's tricky to name.
There's so many
Me
different
being in the
fries.
business, it's tough to like name
Did you actually have like
a best.
blind awards or like? 'Cause I know at the Taco Festival you had.
I don't do
awards.
competitions at these. There's not a lot of bells and whistles because I want to. This is gonna sound so cliche when I say this. I want to focus on the customer experience at these festivals. Taco Festival was all about the bells and whistles, and a lot of times we would lose sight of like how somebody's experience was from the moment they got on property, right?
Yeah.
And at these events, they're a little smaller. They're 5,000 people, so I just want to focus on like making their time the best it can be because I can do that at 5,000 people. At 20,000 people, it gets tricky, you know?
Well, plus with 20,000 people, now you're catering to the masses versus like a small group
Right.
of people.
Exactly.
We do it at like the Arizona wine festivals when you have 1,000 people, you can sit there and talk and engage with the people, but then all of a sudden you start creeping up in the thousands. Now you're just pouring wine for everybody that comes to the table. You no longer have time to talk. You have no longer to enjoy. You're just, oh, here, drink, go, go, go. And then they just hand out a million awards. So like in a certain wine festival, they give gold, silver, and like runner up. It's not one gold. It's not one silver. It's like 86 gold got handed out and 123 silver got. So if you say, oh, I won gold at this specific festival, well, cool. You and 87 other people did too. Like there's no
Participation trophies.
they're
Yeah.
participation trophies, just a little bit bigger than the other.
Right.
Yeah, it's really what it comes down to.
So Merkin Vineyards, do you know?
Yeah.
that? Yeah. They did bolognese fries. So they were potato discs with bolognese in a Chinese takeout container served with chopsticks.
Are those really?
That was pretty stonery. Like if
But are those fries?
Is that a fry or just like a mini pie?
No,
Yeah,
it's up for debate.
Yeah.
It's there's too many weird categories. Like a French fry, everybody can think of one hand, one finger, dip it around.
I just
and
want
like
a crinkle cut and some ketchup and just
curly
That's my
fries.
fries.
Yeah. It's funny when you have a curly fry and you have like the one that's in there and it's this big, but if you stretch it out, it'd be like a French fry this
Right.
long.
Right.
And somebody might just serve a great sauce, so maybe they're winning because of their sauce if you did it, not because of the
It's just
actual
a
French
bland
fry.
fry.
I remember I was in a meatball competition once, and I didn't sauce my balls, and I was, and I didn't win because people were upset because I didn't sauce my balls.
Hashtag sauce your balls.
Right.
People were upset, but I made them Italian style, like the real like seared, and I wanted it was a meatball competition, not
Damien's dry balls.
not a sauce competition.
Well, there's nothing better than sweaty balls.
You know, or saucy balls.
Saucy balls.
I learned that people like saucy balls. Like,
When you gave
yeah,
them to the
because-
judges, you just dropped your balls.
but you could have a mediocre ball and put a good sauce on it, and now everybody's going nuts over it. Just like if you made if you had a French fry that was just mediocre, but you had a great sauce.
Right.
I don't know.
There's a lot of guys with that problem, Damien. They have mediocre fries and bad sauce. Come on.
You're twisting this all around.
This
on
is so
me.
fun. I'm coming by every week for this.
No, I get it though. Like my oh god, I'm gonna say it. My grandma would have balls that sometimes there would be no sauce to it, but it was a combination of certain styles of meats and certain vegetables that would be in it with a lot of like seasoning, basically.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to, there'd be marinara on the side, and you can just sauce
your-
your balls.
dip your balls.
Dip your balls, yeah. But there are some better. Then you get like my lovely aunt who makes a very, very bland, basic ball. And then you have to coat it in sauce.
You're the British,
Oh,
the
God.
British side of your family.
I really hope my family doesn't listen to this one. Sorry, guys.
So I want to go. I had a question about the pizzas because somebody like Caleb who does thin crust full size pizzas, if he comes to the pizza festival, is he just going to do a small version? Do people do that, or because you can't really sell slices of his? Because
Why not?
I guess you could.
Just make a big pizza.
Because I think of slices, I think of this.
No, because like take like a Bianco style, which is like pomo, humble pie, just that
Right.
Neapolitan style pizza, right? That's basically a 12-inch pie that is generally cut into 6 slices. So they'll sell that small slice for $2. And then they're sort of making, the vendor is making the same amount that they would sell in a restaurant. So like they'd sell that pizza for $12 in a restaurant. Now they've just sold 6 slices and they've told 6 people about the restaurant while covering their cost.
What about people like Lou Malnati's or Lou
Lou's
Malnati's?
is
They-
doing it.
That's
Finally.
not a pizza.
Are they selling? Yeah, seriously. Do you have to?
Yeah,
are you doing a casserole festival too?
It's casserole. It's not.
Listen, I
deep
heard
dish
this
is
episode
not.
and I cannot comment.
He's pleading the fifth.
Lou Malnati's is signed up for the festival.
One of his 3 vendors that have signed up.
Thanks for the
It
literal.
doesn't even bringing pizza. He's bringing casserole.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know if they're doing deep dish.
I hope you have a lifeguard in case somebody drowns in that thing when they pass out in it.
It's tricky with deep dish.
Yeah, 'cause you need 4 hours to cook it. It's a casserole.
And a spoon to eat it.
We love that pizza.
I understand
Seriously,
everything that
Malnati's
you're...
makes
Listen,
good food.
I love their disc.
listen to me. I'm from Chicago.
I was gonna ask. I wanted to ask where you're from because you say pie.
I ate this pizza my whole life, but I agree with you guys. It's casserole.
I love it though.
So I really want to know. Do you say because my family from Brooklyn they say pizza? Chicago, Joe says it. My buddy says it. You say it. They say pie. And is it because Lou Malnati's is a literal fucking pie?
Yeah.
Or well, just
Right,
deep
right,
dish in
right.
general?
It's tomato sauce pie.
tomato sauce pie. God, it's a delicious.
I will say
pie.
the one thing they do that I love is their wheel of sausage that they do on their pies because
Oh, right. You get sausage in every bite.
every
Yeah.
bite you don't have just sausage pieces thrown on.
Oh, like they just wrap it in a
no, it's a wheel of sausage
a
dropped in
patty.
dropped in the middle of the pie covered with sauce.
It's a patty as big as the
Yeah.
pizza.
Oh.
It's a wheel.
So it's as if...
I'm blown away.
It's amazing. I love it. It's because every bite you get the
I've
sausage.
always said I want to get that sausage, but put it in lasagna.
That basically makes it a burger
Yeah.
then.
It's a burger casserole.
Yeah, right. So at the pizza festival, Lou Malnati's will be doing burgers.
I love the fact that so much Chicago stuff is out here now. Between, you had, I always called it Portillo's because Arizona,
The Mexican version of it.
but Portillo's. No, I was corrected. When the first time I said, let's go to Portillo's, my buddy who's from Chicago was like,
Kick the shit out of you.
what's wrong with you?
He was a buddy of mine from grade school.
I got beat up by people like you for saying Portillo's. Yeah, so
That
Portillo's.
if you said that in Chicago, you'd get shot.
Oh God, probably. That's just, it's a religion of food. The hot dogs, and then followed up with like they did the maple and ash for the high end, and then Lou Malnati's is what 2-3 restaurants at or 2-3 pizza joints. What do we call it? Pizza joint, restaurant,
I'd call that a pizza joint.
pizza joint.
Do you have ever had Famous Ray's be part of your pizza festival?
No, I've never even heard of Famous Ray's.
Famous Ray's from New York. They have
Oh,
a location
gosh.
out here. Like
What?
Ray's has a location out here, and our good friend is actually the owner of it. He's an Armenian dude.
I hate.
Oh,
listen-
Mimi.
Yeah,
It's
Mimi's got
incredible.
great pies.
I'm gonna have to listen to this podcast when we're done because there's so much that I got to follow up on.
We'll-
I got a to-do list.
We'll set you up with Mimi. He'd probably love to be
George
part of it.
Frazier would probably do like a Demo's St. Louis pizza,
Hot
which is
diva.
technically just a cheese crisp, basically.
No, but Mimi's is real New York style pizzas, the big slices, and it's
Where is
done-
it?
I don't know, in Arizona.
That way, north-ish.
He
So
just
have you
shows.
been?
He shows up with pies. No, he brings them over to the house.
Got
he
it.
comes
Okay.
over here to watch the fights with us a lot.
Oh, is Rosati's is Chicago too, isn't it? Or not really? It's just Chicago style pizza, they say.
Yeah, so that is technically the pizza that I grew up with most in my house.
Isn't it like thin
Which
crust
is- it's
squares?
Thin crust, yeah, cut in squares.
Oh yeah, they used to do that at. Do you remember not Coach House? What was the thing by Coach House? Sugar Shack, not the strip club, but the other place, like the actual pizza joint. They had that thin slice,
Right.
cut squares and everything.
Yeah.
God, that was good.
I love squares because those tiny little triangle corner pieces.
Oh, best piece.
We would
Yeah.
cut people in our family to get to those, like, like, Ma, back off. Like,
Because it's almost like a cracker at that point, but because you can grab it. The middle pieces are always like kind of like soggy or
Yeah.
There's no endo.
yeah.
right.
What about there's that Chicago bar that's up near Highland?
Yeah, Half Moon Windy City Sports Grill. So they did it last year. They're small operations, so they're going to try and do it this year.
There are so many
Their
pizza joints.
deep dish is bomb.
My buddy swears by their cheesecake. I guess they get it flown in from Chicago.
Eli's. Yeah, they get real Eli's cheesecake.
Joe goes nuts. I mean, he's a crazy
It's
Chicago
funny.
guy.
Phoenix is like a little mini Chicago.
It is.
All the people who moved out here got tired of the snow. We're like, well, that's it. Time for sunshine.
They get their Cubs for at least a month a year.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of people from Chicago out here.
Yeah, I went to a Coyotes game, and I walked in, and it was all red, assuming it was a sellout. Nope, Blackhawks. All red.
Yeah. Well, that's why the Cubs games were for years going to the Diamondback Stadium. It was literally a home game for the Cubs. The crowd would be chanting, "Let's go Cubs," and you hear 8 people go, "Suck."
Right.
But it was a home game for the Cubs out here. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just fantastic. I'm just like, I don't go to enough pizza places because the ones by us are Craft 64, Grazier.
It's good pie. It's good pie,
like
too.
really, it's a lot of brick oven stuff basically. I don't know what Craft 64
Grimaldi's. That's a good
Grimaldi's.
Good
I forgot
pizza.
about Grimaldi's.
There's like no other pizza that has that flavor.
Do you know
that Grimaldi's manages to
unique.
get, right? You know?
It's something about the dough. Like the dough is so important in pizza that some people just don't understand. There's nothing better than like a really good dough.
It's
like the same-
The water is a lot of it.
Right. It has a lot to do with water.
Do you know the pizza sloth?
Yes, he's doing it.
He's a good dude.
Yeah,
I like him a
he's
lot.
a great guy. He's outside of
He's the
Wandering Donkey all the time.
He's the fish guy.
Wandering donkey.
Yeah. You know, at that bar.
The Wandering Tortoise?
Did I say Wandering Donkey? That's so funny. Well, there is a Wandering. It's a taco shop up in Cave Creek. Isn't
The
it
Wandering Donkey?
Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. So where? So what was the day again for the
November 16th.
November 16th.
It's a
from
Saturday.
what time? Afternoon?
From 11 to 5.
And where can people find to get tickets for this thing?
Phoenix.pizza.
Phoenix.pizza.
No.com.
Wow.
I saw that URL.
How'd you get a
and
dot
awesome.
pizza?
You know what? This day, we could probably get anything.
Yeah, right.
So do you have to pay to get in also?
Yeah, it's $10 to get in, and then all the vendors offer slices $2 to $4, and then beer and wine is $6, $7, $8, somewhere in there.
Gotta
Pretty
have good
affordable
drinks
day.
for it, yeah.
You know, I don't believe in the model that's like $80 and then all you can eat.
Yeah.
You just see people shoveling food in their mouth. They're not paying attention to where they're eating from. They'll take one bite, throw it in the trash, and move on. Whereas if somebody's just spending that $2,
So $2. It's not.
they're thinking about where they're going and who they're getting it from.
That's one thing we in the Arizona Wine Grows is every time we deal with certain festivals and they're like, well, it's $25 and you get 5 tickets. It's like, okay, well, why don't you just make them pay X amount for the glass, like $5 to get your little cool custom glass, and then all the money they spend, you take a percentage from the people, because then people will decide what they drink versus hitting up the first vendor and dropping all 5 tags off the first guy in the door,
Right.
and going from there. Versus if I have to actually have a few dollars in my pocket, I will choose the ones that I really, really want to go to because I haven't had it. Like if I walked up and Craft 64 was there, I'm like, well, I have that all the time. Now I got to go try a new one. But if it was free, I'd be like, cool, I know that I'm going to have that.
Right.
It's such a great marketing tool for the restaurants to be able to do that because, like you said, you don't get a chance to try a lot of these pizza places, but you'd probably go out of your way to try a place or go to a place if you know it's damn good. And
Pizza Coletta. I'll go. If next time I'm up in Flagstaff, I'm going there because that was
Right.
amazing that they were down here.
That's what I always try to tell vendors is like there's no other, it's going to sound like I'm selling now, but there's no other marketing spend you can do where you can sell your product and get right in front of the person that is like qualified your customer. They bought tickets to a pizza festival.
there
So
for
if you're
pizza.
selling, if you're in the pizza business, that's your guy. That's the person that wants to know about you, you know?
So many people get asked to do charity events or come out and do this, this, and this. And like, well, I will expose you to 1,000 people, but you're actually losing money because you're not selling the product or they might cut you a little check back at the end. But I always hated that term. I will expose you to this. With you, you're actually they're able to sell product.
Right.
So even if they show up and they might sell enough to, pay their rent for the month or keep the electricity
Yeah,
bill
French
on.
Fry Fest, there was a vendor there. When she told me at the end of the festival what she made more than I did. As the owner of the festival.
Dude, some of our wine festivals, we have made more at one festival than we did in an entire weekend of sales at some of these festivals.
Right.
And it's one thing that I do love are ones like yours where they're inexpensive to get in and then, $2-4 thing. Like there's some festivals where they'll give you every ticket you sell, they'll give you 10, 20 cents. And you're like, dude, I'm actually losing money on the bottle by the sale.
Right.
But then there's other ones that give you $1 per ticket. And you're like, oh my God, I just want to pour tastings the whole time. And you walk away with 5,000 tickets. That's more than like the weekend or a Saturday in some cases.
So that's so gratifying. I was kind of joking.
And you'll keep coming back.
I was kind of joking that
Let's talk about that when we're done.
that they made more money than I did, but it's like cool that the event is supporting
But they'll
local
come
business.
back. And now you have a thing that's always going to be there.
Totally.
And they're going to talk about it constantly. They're going to talk about what you did. They're going to
Yeah,
talk about, and next year they'll be talking to their other pizza friends going, man, you have to do this. This is what
Right.
I did. And
Right.
I think pizza people
And
talk.
then it becomes, I imagine, 2 days, or all of a sudden it blows
No,
up.
I don't know.
and
So the
doesn't-
funny thing is like what I've learned is like a person who makes tacos is genetically different than a person who makes pizza, who's genetically different than a French fry person. A pizza vendor will have a $5,000 day, and I'll ask them, hey, should I add a day 2 to this? And they're like, go fuck yourself. I'm not doing this again. I'm so tired. Whereas a taco guy is like, bring it. Let's do a 7-day
Yeah,
taco
real easy
fest.
to make tacos.
Tacos are prepped already.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're
Yeah.
just filling up tortillas, spraying them with some sauce, and out
Yeah.
the door. Where the pizza guy is like,
Yeah, so there's a
Good,
food
'cause
truck.
this was a go out to get a little racist
Good.
over here.
There's a food truck called Buddies. They do deep dish pizza too. And last year, they're not doing the festival this year because they just had their ass handed to them. They were so busy last year. And I walked in at the end of the event.
Why? You could just freeze it and bring it.
and it looked like this guy had like slaughtered people in his truck. He was just like covered in like tomato sauce. His apron, there's like cheese everywhere. Like it was like a mess.
he's still recovering from it.
Right. So he emailed saying like, dude, I don't think I can do your festival. I'm 50. I'm not cut out for it anymore.
It's like PTSD of pizza, like PTPSD. He's post-traumatic pizza festival disorder.
Those battle scars are brutal.
Right.
But yeah, man, I mean, trying to bang out 200 pizzas in a matter of a few hours, man, that's rough.
Dude, remember, they came inside, the Pizza Coletta people walked in, sat down, and they looked like they just got shell shocked because they were just sitting there like, we're done. We need a drink right now while we count this out.
Yeah, and they don't throw it in the air. They're like this, and they're kind of pressing it
kneading
out
it,
and
yeah.
kneading it. But man, you do that. I mean, I've made my own dough and rolled it out, and like the next day, you're like, man, my abs hurt, my forearms hurt.
I love it more and more. I don't not support Arizona Food Week, but I don't really do it. But if all these festivals keep popping up, which is more and more, and the weather out here is perfect for it, pretty much for like 8 months of the year, I'll go to pretty much every single one because now I don't go to Cave Creek for any of those things, but all of a sudden they just came down. Cool, I'm gonna try that, and then maybe all of a sudden I go, wow, that was dish. I would never have had what's the taco thing we had, Gallo Blanco. It's seriously one of the best tacos I ever had. Random at Devoured.
Oh yeah, that was so
They
good at
crushed
Devoured.
Yeah, and now I go there whenever I'm down on the side.
that mole sauce they had
The
there.
mole was incredible.
But that's the one, like you said at the beginning, is you pay a good premium, and that's all you can eat. I mean, you can just run around and eat. You don't have tickets
For some of these other,
for
at
Devoured.
Devoured is an anomaly, I think. Like a lot of
It's a
festivals,
very interesting one. Yeah.
it's interesting in that like it's obviously successful. Everybody buys in, and there's a lot of respect behind the event. I
Yeah.
buy tickets to Devoured. I don't ask for friends and family or like I believe in that cause. They do right by a lot of chefs. I feel like
I think it got better when they took it out of the plaza where everybody was jammed into that
1000%.
little thing, and you just ran into everybody. And
Totally.
that was a shit
Now-
show.
now
Now
I've-
that spread, it was a lot better.
I've seen 5 iterations of that. When it first started, the wine was separate than the food. The food would be outside in the courtyard. The wine would be inside. So people would eat a whole bunch of food, and they'd go inside, and they'd pound a bunch of drinks, and they'd come back out, and you couldn't bring the liquor outside. When they allowed the liquor to be outside, then it became a madhouse, and the lines were so long you couldn't walk through the walkways.
Right.
You'd run into people. That was the one thing that we talked about this year was bad about Devoured, was that only that one spot where it was the one line of food and the one line of drinks, and everybody hit that first, and you just had that like wall of people. But once you got through that, it's perfect. It was like 5 foods for every 5 wine vendors,
But-
like in every little section.
That's how we bonded. It was at Devoured.
Right.
The one where you sat out there when I was with Vias, and I was pouring Chianti Classicos, telling you
Those
stories.
are the
and-
days.
Good
I
days.
remember you bought a bunch of wine, and then I kind of knew you, but I didn't really. And the next year you came in, and same thing. You came to the table, and you started talking to me about. You're like, I bought those wines. I had one.
Buying
blah,
them
blah."
again.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to know this guy. This guy's a cool guy.
So funny.
And that's really how I got to know you.
Thanks.
It wasn't through.
And now you're doing festivals.
Right.
right,
It's kind
but
of funny.
It was well. You were doing a taco festival back.
Yeah,
then.
I've been doing festivals for 10 years, and I think that event is a little older. And I might be 10 years old.
That's gotta be a
How, how did you get
But-
into it?
I was gonna say that's a weird conversation to sit around a couple buddies like,
I'm
hey
gonna
man,
start a
let's do a festival.
Right. Needed some cash. My bathroom attendant gig was up, and I needed some.
Those late night bathroom gigs, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But I
couldn't,
feel like-
couldn't live the bathroom lifestyle anymore.
I feel like you had to put a ton of money into that just to throw the festival.
Well, it's kind of a festival's business model. This is madness. Is essentially go 3,000% in debt and then just
Hope
just
and pray.
Totally.
Yeah,
Hope to God it
I've now
works out.
seen, I think we have like 10, not including like one major vendor who does 6 or 7 a year, but for wine festivals, there's like maybe like 10 in the city, and then there's like 50 across the entire state. And I think this year they added 3 or 4 more. There's like the Sedona Wine Festivals this weekend. There was a Flagstaff the weekend before. And every single time people are like, what? Didn't even know about it because they didn't promote it. And they're always asking for everything, and they're spending so much money.
Right.
We work with one guy who's on his 3rd year, and this will be the first year he thinks he might break even on it.
How funny. We're drinking out of wine and chili festival glasses.
25 years.
Festival glasses are usually pretty nice, though. This is a nice
these
glass.
are Riedels, and these are for the 25th anniversary ones. But Santa Fe Wine and Chili Festival is also the premier wine and food festival in the United States. I like it better than Aspen Food and Wine. I mean, it is top notch. I mean, they take over the whole city. If you see the wineries that are involved, there's master sommeliers that fly in from around the world to be part of it and teach seminars.
It's the South by Southwest of wine and food.
It's like 6 days.
Oh, damn.
Do you guys think that Nirvana will grow into that?
Wow, that was a good silence right there.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, yes, they have the backing of people like Bo McMillan and the Food Network and some of these celebrity chefs. But this town also, sometimes it's difficult to get people to truly buy into things.
It is.
Also, go to the places.
And you have to make it affordable. And some of their stuff is rather pricey, and some of their dinners and events are rather pricey. And the thing about wine and chili festivals, they keep most of the events at an affordable price.
Right.
So the average person can go to it, spend a full week in Santa Fe, go to 2 seminars, 1 luncheon, a dinner, the VIP tasting, the trade tasting, and then the grand tasting at the end. And you can wrap it up in different packages. You can do a package where maybe you can go to 1 seminar, 1 tasting, and then the grand tasting in 1 budget. And then you can just enjoy the city at the other time, where Nirvana, the layout's a little weird still, I think.
Right.
Because it's a bunch of very high-end
Seems like it's all about Nirvana. Whereas
Where
what
is
you're
that at?
describing here, it's more about place.
It's about the whole city
Get to
and the
know
festival.
the place.
Where's Nirvana?
It's at Sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, our big festival, let's not kid ourselves, is Barrett Jackson's, and that's cars.
True.
That's the biggest one that we have. And then the Arabian horse shows right afterwards.
Right.
So we have a horse one.
Right.
I think
And,
the food one is, I love it because there's more and more. And obviously the more people who come here, especially from food-driven states like, Illinois, California, and like Oregon and Washington coming in, Colorado, everybody wants better food. But like everything, it's so spread out. If you put like a festival out in Thunderbird, or not even Thunderbird, Sun City, nobody's going to go there.
Right.
Versus, most of these, where have you done most of your festivals? In downtown Phoenix? Because I know the Taco Fest
downtown, and then Salt River Fields.
Salt River Fields feels like the right spot. It's
a
off the
great
freeway,
location,
it's huge.
totally.
Everybody can get there. But even
Right.
then, you have 1 exit getting to it.
But like I said, with Santa Fe
Yeah.
Wine and Chili,
Two-ish.
Yeah.
there's 50,
One and a half.
There's
One and a half.
50 restaurants involved with it, not just Sanctuary, not
Yeah,
just one.
right.
It's not like, oh, this celebrity chef is coming to my restaurant to cook. So you can't go to 3 events at one restaurant. Yeah, there's a different chef
Yeah.
there, but you're still at the same restaurant, the same location.
Right.
Where, you can go to Coyote Cafe one day, you get to go to this restaurant the next day, and that restaurant, and each one, there's a winemaker sponsoring that luncheon, pairing it. And then the next day, you can go to that restaurant again, but it's a completely different winery that's sponsoring it and something
Right.
completely different. So, and then there's seminars at each of these different locations. So you're like, all right, Tuesday I'm gonna do a Barolo seminar. Wednesday we're doing lunch at Coyote Cafe with Damien the wine guy doing Vias wines. On Thursday there's the VIP big grand tasting, and then we're gonna take a night off and go, hike the city and see the church. I mean, there's a number of things going on, and then
Right.
the grand tasting is very much like a devour in a way. It's a table of food and a winery, table of food, winery, table of food, winery, and all the people that bring their food are bringing their best stuff. They're trying to outdo each other.
So that's one of the things that I meant when I said devoured is an anomaly, is everybody buys into that event.
Yes.
And truly every chef brings their A game. And they bring a lot of things that they don't normally serve at the restaurant, which gives Devour this air of limited time only offering. So you got to go because like George Frazier's like introducing his chicken. The restaurant's not
that's
open
what got
yet,
me into to have the hot chicken.
right?
Stuff's so good.
That was so good.
And now they're doing a hot chicken, cook-off or festival? Or
Just
whatever
got
it
my
is.
tickets.
Is it? So it is a thing,
Yeah.
Oh,
It's in
man.
like a couple weeks.
I cannot wait for the amount of toilet paper I'm going to use after that one.
That food is so good. I mean, George is killing it at that place too.
The bathroom references on this
Always.
episode.
Always turns
Nice
back
work.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You always have something you got to go back to.
Always. We always talk about a boomerang conversation. This is more like a toilet paper conversation.
Oh, yeah, a lot of time it's just us dropping the word moist constantly.
Right.
Cheers.
It's so funny.
It's one of our trigger words.
All right. I want to get back to this as I
You
choke
want
on this
to
wine.
talk about some wine for a little bit? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
let's go to that, and we'll talk about some more food festivals.
we brought these wines specifically because they're wines that pair with pizza. You know, when we were discussing this, we discussed this actually on another show. I believe we were with maybe Sean, where we were discussing your festivals and what wines pair with French fries, what wines pair with donuts, and we were bouncing ideas off each other and things that might work.
Yeah, and in that episode, I feel like, is that the one where I heard you say,
champagne and fried stuff.
well, yeah, champagne and fries is a great combination.
Yeah.
But your dessert wine has to be sweeter than the dessert itself. I learned that from
Oh,
you
it
guys.
was Oscar that we were talking about. It was
No.
with, I think.
Is that true, or did you guys
before
make
he
that
did
up?
the fried festival? I thought.
Whatever. Well, you
Dude, there's been too many to know. But yeah, we did do it. But yes, there's truth in it's got to be more sweet or more what, acidic or something like that.
the acidity. But here's my first rule of wine pairing: don't ever believe me.
Right.
Because
whatever you like.
Cilantro. You know, some people it tastes great, and some people it tastes horrible. Some people might taste sweet on sweet and think, "Oh my God, this is amazing." Somebody else might say sweet on sweet, and it's cloying and it's too much, and I can't do it. You know, and I think pizza with red wines and certain types of red wines can be very universal, but I think pairing stuff with sweet could be very challenging. And it was the Oscar episode because we were talking about Tokai and barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And we were talking about different things, what would pair with donuts and how to do it. And we were talking about maybe big Zinfandels as the jelly.
We're talking about the petit
Yes.
sirah and the donuts.
Yeah, and you know, it'd be kind of like, okay, do a jammy wine with the donuts because that could be like the jelly inside of a donut or
Well,
something
you
like that.
treat all these pizzas differently. If you just get a margarita pizza, so you have a really high acid with like some cheese on it, but then if you get a all meat lover
pesto
pizza,
and chicken pizza or something like
yeah,
that,
and barbecue pizza, yeah.
without a doubt.
Which does that technically make it a pizza if you put barbecue sauce instead of a tomato sauce?
So what's your take on pineapple on pizza?
God, this
This is a big debate. This has actually split families up.
All right, so I had never had it because I just refused to eat it until the first year of Pizza Festival. I was so hungry, I hadn't eaten anything. And Z Pizza had delivered, you guys might beat me up when I say this. It was a wheat crust Hawaiian pizza, so ham and pineapple. And I ate it, and it was amazing.
my man.
It was kind of amazing.
Okay,
That's right, Damien.
I love-
pineapple is fantastic on
no,
pizza.
I love pineapple pizza.
What?
No.
Oh, I thought you were anti-pineapple.
No, because it's especially when you have the
excellent.
ham on there because it's sweet and
It's
salty.
got to have the ham.
sweet and
It's-
salty. Pineapple, yeah.
Are you pineapple? No
pineapple
ham?
by itself, man.
Wow.
Just pineapple that bitch out.
Now
That's
I
bold.
haven't had it in a long time, but I went through a phase of about 5 or 6 years late in college days where that's all I got was pineapple and ham pizzas or pineapple and sauce. I mean, pineapple and like ham pizzas. Used to get them from Gumby's.
That's a real name of a place.
used to get
Gumby's.
used to get like the 30-inch pizza for like $12 and it would feed all of us.
Oh my God! There's a place in San Diego that's got like it's the size of this pizza. It's half this table size pizza. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
I wonder how many people are not going to come to your the festival now that they find out you like pineapple on pizza.
Right, I know.
Maybe you shouldn't have said this.
Wait until after.
I don't blame them. I mean, listen, if somebody's got that kind of dedication to their hatred of pineapple pizza, God bless them.
I watched somebody put
know?
sriracha on their noodles instead of sauce one time. So everybody's got their own weird quirks. Quarks. Quarks. All right.
Quarks.
That's a weird word to say. Almost as weird as moist.
So when it comes to pizza, pizza is from southern Italy. So I like to always, a key rule of thumb when it comes to Italian food and cuisine and wine pairings, pick the wines from that region when you're having food that's from that region. God, so if you're having spaghetti and red sauce, you'll want to have more Tuscan stuff.
This is why-
If you're from the north and you're having stuff with like a lot of heavy olive oils and a lot of olives or like something like cingale, wild boar dishes are very famous when you're up in Piedmont. That's going to be your Barolos and your Nebbiolos. You're going to have
pepperonis and sausages.
Your horse bolognese is stuff that's up around Verona and Trentino.
Keyword
I fucking love horse bolognese.
I love it.
There's a
Dude, is there anybody in town that serves that? I'm always looking for a good bowl of horse bolognese.
Oh,
Who isn't?
That's just so
I mean-
delicious.
my
That was
God.
so funny. That was so
Choking over here.
specific too. Not just bolognese, horse bolognese.
But there's towns in Italy that's what they serve. If you just get their bolognese, it's going to be horse. For real. I'm not
Are you kidding?
No, I'm 100% serious.
yeah, no.
You
it's
think
a
I was
thing
kidding,
in
but no,
Italy.
it's actually very.
It's just funny that he
Are they
said it.
cannibals
It's-
too? Like, do they eat
it's-
people?
It's the Northeast.
They're
It's very
Italians. They do a lot of weird shit.
Yeah. right.
So pizza is famous from typically the toe of the boot, southern
Okay.
Italy.
Yeah.
So Calabria, Campania, those wines work perfect with pizza. So when I think pizza, I want stuff from the south. I want stuff from Tuscany down. So Sangiovese based wines, or when you get down to stuff like from Sicily, you get down stuff from Calabria, Campania, the Aglianico. Aglianico and pizza is fantastic.
Big ass bold tannic wine with pizza.
No, not the Aglianico de Voltore, the Aglianico like the one that Terradora makes.
Oh, yeah,
The
okay.
Campanian
Yeah,
ones,
yeah.
which tend to be a little more fruit driven.
Yeah.
Works perfectly with it.
But now we're talking, what if you start changing that and you start doing like all the meats from like Northeast Italy and then putting that onto a pizza? Do you do Valpolicella?
Well, not
Amarone?
Well, Valpolicella and Amarone comes from the area where they make horse bolognese.
Yeah.
So you can do northern wines with pizza from the
You
south.
can, but it kind of
Based on topping?
a lot of time it's for me. Well, pizza's from the south, so I think southern wines.
That's why I wear Tommy
you can
Bahama
use
with
stuff in the
pineapple
north, but
pizzas.
right.
pizzas aren't served a lot in the north. In the north, they have different dishes. Like when you're actually up around Trentino and Verona, it's German influence. You're getting a lot of like Spätzle. You know, no Spätzle. Serious, like
Schnitzel.
in the town of Trentino. Italian's their third language. It's not their first language. It's everyone's blonde hair and blue-eyed up there because it's all the Austrian and German influence. Where in the South, you get a lot of the influence from Africa, from the islands. That's why people from the South tend to have a little bit darker skin tones. Their language is also a little different in the South than it is from the North. So
And that's why like Northwest is more French driven in style because it used to be actually be part of France at one point.
So it's very common rule with the cheeses. If you're having cheeses from certain regions, drink the wines from those regions, and they're going to match up perfectly.
Right.
Parmesan Reggiano is actually a town in Italy. Drink the wines from that town; they're going to work perfect. So Prosciutto di Parma, the town of Parma, is where prosciutto comes from. So drink the wines of Parma. So, but
Prosciutto on pizza is so good. It's funny what became common things like prosciutto, arugula, and like olive oil for a pizza, or then like. You get a meat lovers with pretty much every single sauce on it. All these weird. Grazie's did that for me. We have 20 pizzas from 20 different areas, and one of them looks like a salad just on bread.
Yeah. When topping, I'm not down with arugula.
well, that's
I never liked it.
Well, arugula.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm with you. Arugula is
It's
weird.
like salad on pizza.
But-
I'm not into it.
Arugula and prosciutto go together on pizza. It's the bitter and the saltiness, and that's a very common.
like
I
fig
get
jam,
the theory behind it,
it's
but
a
I'm
very
just not down with it.
yeah.
It's a very common pizza in Italy is arugula and prosciutto. Another one with prosciutto is prosciutto and melon. Prosciutto and melon is actually a common thing
I
that
like
they have.
prosciutto and melon, but
Okay, I
on
like
a pizza,
Yeah,
I guess
right?
it's
What am
the
I getting,
same
a
thing as the
watermelon
ham and-
pizza?
So it's a northern Italian thing.
Okay.
So they actually will serve almost like a
You said no pizzas in the north.
no. There's pizzas in the north, but it's just not your traditional like
the
margherita.
prosciutto is actually a horse and watermelon.
Not your yeah. It's your saucy horse bologneses.
2 bologneses, please.
Can I get the bullet? Get it extra horse, please. I want to know the cuts.
We're out.
And then like, can I get like a top sirloin, but
Right.
horse?
They're different horse cuts.
You can't actually serve it that way. It has to be cooked down.
That's actually a good cowboy bar name, horse cuts.
Horse cuts. Yeah, I'm about that.
So, how many Sicilian wines have you had in your life? Many? A lot?
The funny thing about wine, I drink it almost every day, but I have this mental block where I can't remember things about it. I don't know what that is. Whereas like agave spirits, for instance, something clicks in my mind and I can remember almost everything that I've learned. But for wine, it's like it doesn't
It's funny. I think
stick.
I have issues with certain French wines. People talk about the French Crus and Montrachets and Corton Charlemagne's, and sometimes it doesn't stick in my brain.
I don't know. What is that?
But there's thousands of varietals in Italy, and I know a lot of them. And I know a lot about them, and for some reason, that's just something that stuck to me. I don't.
Right.
That's the same thing. I'm with you on the wine. I like the mezcal things. I've been getting into mezcals a lot, and now like I learn, especially from Valentina and Nona, like the different styles of agave spirits, whether it's Sotol, Bacanora, tequila, mezcal. We did a Pachuga mezcal, and
There's
all
a
the,
whole world.
It's a whole world. It's the same thing. Like with whiskey, you know, you have like a bourbon or a scotch. It's all like little different things here, but it's such a fun thing to drink. I prefer the mezcal. I like the smokiness of it.
I'm with you 100%.
That's like when I drink scotch, I like the Islay stuff because it's smokier. And
Totally. Give me a good
mezcal is
Ardbeg and like
I'm all about Ardbeg and
totally.
Lafroig. Those are my two favorites.
Don't
yeah.
even need to smoke a cigar. It's there in my glass.
I like that. I could put my glass across the room and everybody knows what I'm drinking.
Right,
You two are bonding right now over peaty scotch.
I did. The second we were talking about mezcal stuff earlier and whatever, I was just like, excellent. I can't wait to try all these different ones because Valentina had like 20 different mezcals, and I tried to get my dad to try some and some friends. They prefer tequila. They really like tequila. And my difference to me is I don't know the difference of the tequilas. I know like, you know, what gold is and reposado and añejo and all that stuff, which gold and añejo same thing. Anyways, but the second I had a mezcal, I was like, that's mezcal. And I really like that. And it's not the shit I had in Rocky Point with the little worm at the bottom. It was actually really good.
Mezcal,
by the way, ate a worm one time. Terrible.
Mezcal just works so great in cocktails. It's such a great, something like almost like a paint, you know? And it's... No, but I'm saying it's whatever. Shut up.
Delicious paint.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah, it's like adding gasoline to a cocktail.
Well, it's like
Nobody loves.
It's like having horse instead of beef.
Right.
Some liquors, when you go to use them, they're very bland. There's just like painting with the color white, and other things have a lot of different color, and you can actually do a lot of things
Yeah,
with it.
I always say
So-
mezcal comes to the surface on your palate at just the right point in a cocktail. It doesn't overpower it unless somebody's just
Like,
making
I'd never
a shitty
say,
drink.
"Man."
You know, but
It's very possible.
That vodka drink you made me was just unbelievable. I'll never
Totally.
forget it. Like
really
it's so
taste
it's
that
so.
potato.
Ugh.
Right.
I mean, it works. It gets you from point A to point D, but there's no character to it. Where mezcal, you're right. It highlights the cocktail in all the right
Yeah,
ways a lot
right.
of the time.
You ever met people that say they can taste the difference in vodkas? And I'm not talking about cheap shit to good shit. Like they're like, well, I'm a vodka drinker. I could taste all the differences in vodkas. And I sit there and I'm like, what? Is that a, like?
no,
is that
because
a
the
real-
point of vodka is to get to know taste.
Yeah. So is this like the same sulfite argument? Like where everybody's wrong? Like there is no flavor in vodka. It's fucking nothing.
I mean, technically, vodka by law is supposed to be odorless, colorless, and tasteless.
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
Right, that's the goal. So how can you taste the difference?
I have a guy who comes into my winery and he's all he drinks is vodkas and he's like, I could taste the difference. And I really wonder if we blind tasted him without him seeing the bottle label or anything and put all these different and throw a gin in there to really mess it up.
So
Right.
some people mentally think they can taste things, even though I think they're just full of shit. I mean, some people say, "Oh, I can taste the sulfites in this wine," or
Did you ever see Penn and Teller when they did the water bottle ones? They did. So Penn and Teller did when they had their show. They took Dasani, Everclear, Evian, every 100 different bottles of water, and they were pouring it for all these water psalms. And they're like, "Oh yes, I can taste how this came off a glacier, and I could taste the spring." They're out back with a garden hose, filling up every single bottle and resealing it, and just sending it on in and pouring it in front of people.
I love that so much.
I'm like, that's in my mind. I feel that's vodka drinkers. But
So,
yeah.
you know,
This
talk-
is.
I think this is drinking right. Honestly,
Yeah,
so
let's talk
like
about
the
the
Chianti's good, but I really like the Etna Rosso.
I'm with you 100%.
And especially as it's opened up. When we first had it, it was kind of muted, but now just so much more flavors coming out. It's got the sexiness of a Pinot Noir, but it has the power of
A lot of tannin up front.
yeah.
Yeah, the tannin's there from. I mean, that's the nice thing about having a lot of these Etna wines we keep trying is they can be really, really soft and real food friendly. Like really food friendly, and then the tannin hits you right there, but it's not over dominating anything.
Now, next month, we're going to do a whole entire Etna Rosso episode. So we're going to talk about the cruise of Etna Rosso, the different areas. So this winery, one of their single vineyard cruise was number 9 on the Wine Spectator Top 100 Wines of the World last year. This is one of the premier producers. In fact, I paired with them to do a almost like a speed dating kind of thing with Produttori Barbaresco. So we took all these Psalms, brought them into a restaurant, and we sat 10 of them at my table with all the Produttori crews, and then 10 of them sat at this table with all the crews of Tenuta della Terranere. And then we got up and we switched tables, and then we went through it. And we had luncheons, and we did this at Tarbell's, and they paired food with it.
Nice.
So we went through all 9 crews of Produttori and then all 9 crews of them. They were a competition distributor from me. They weren't in my portfolio, but they were so good. I wanted to pair with them to do this luncheon, and it was killer.
The wine's fantastic. I absolutely love this.
So the grape is Nerello Mascalese, which a lot of people have never even heard of, but it's the grape of Mount Etna. It's pretty much only grown in the northeastern portion of Sicily. They don't, because there's a lot of Nero d'Avola, there's a lot of whites,
where Mount Etna
Catarratto. Yeah, but that's it. They just pretty much grow this on the side of the
Yeah,
mountain.
you asked if I'd had Sicilian wine before. So what are common grapes?
The main one is Nero d'Avola.
Okay.
So Nero d'Avola is their primary one, and then they have a white grape called Catarratto that they grow a lot of. They do grow some Pinot Grigio there. There is some Frappato is one of their other ones. Frappato is a very light wine. It's very similar to like a Pinot Noir.
Okay.
You eat a lot of fish in Sicily. So a lot of the reds tend to be a little lighter bodied because you're going to have them with fish still. Because they're also going to be using like eggplant olive sauces like carbonara, I think is what that sauce is. So you'll have like a piece of grilled fish with like a carbonara sauce on top of it, which is like tomatoes, eggplant, olives, all diced up. So it's a rich sauce, so you can still pair a red wine with it.
So is that where anchovies on pizza started?
Very could be.
Because I always
seems
grew
logical,
up.
right?
I always grew up with everybody saying, "Ew, anchovies on pizza. That's gross. You're disgusting." And I had it one day and I went, "Wow, that's actually really good." It's so gross to think about, but at the same time, it's really tasty.
I mean, I love the
So
Spanish
salty,
anchovies.
though.
The Spanish white anchovies are one of my favorite things to eat in the world.
So there are literally is anchovy
love
just mean
those.
like tiny fish or
little
something?
tiny bony fish?
Yeah.
But there's different
There's different
different types of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know the
I just-
Spanish white ones are the most expensive ones, and those are the ones. I mean, I could just eat those things left and right. But those are the ones you'll get on like a Caesar salad.
Yeah.
They'll have usually the white anchovies.
That's the only pizza that has fish on it. Or like if people, I'm assuming there's some weird crazy stuff out there, but like when you think of meat lovers, you think
Shrimp,
pepperoni,
I guess.
Canadian bacon, like all this stuff. But shrimp on a pizza,
Waiting for the day that Chula Seafood does a fish pizza.
ahi pizza,
Because those guys
a poke
can put-
pizza.
Right.
Poke pizza.
They're doing something right now that's like you would never think would be a fish.
A burger.
okay, wait.
Yeah, like a fish burger, like something like that.
These
Guys can make fish taste good in any form.
I love it.
I worked at a restaurant that had a smoked.
does.
I did work at a restaurant that had a smoked salmon pizza. What it was they would cook the dough and it would come out, and they'd put smoked salmon on the top of it with capers, and then they had a dill creme fraiche they'd spray over the
That
top.
sounds
So
of
it's
it.
literally a bagel.
Yeah.
So it was. We actually
Is
served it.
pizza a bagel?
We served it on our brunch menu.
Or is
actually.
bagel a pizza?
It was served on its brunch menu, but it was our smoked salmon pizza, and it was
It sounds
fan
bomb.
freaking tastic.
Cream cheese, capers, little
Like creme fraiche, not cream cheese.
Creme fraiche.
So, but yeah, it was like a dill creme fraiche,
Yeah.
capers, smoked salmon on like a warm, crispy pizza crust.
Yeah, it sounds great.
was
Maybe that's
awesome.
funny if that's what makes pizza. Pizza just warming up some dough.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what's a taco?
So you're saying it's toast?
You know?
It's toast. Well, I mean, that's like all foods are said. Like if you have grilled cheese, well, in Mexico, it's just an enchilada, or not an enchilada, cheese crisp, basically.
Right.
Quesadilla?
Quesadilla.
It is right.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, it's all the same thing. It's
Isn't
all
a
some
taco
form
a
of
pita sandwich?
just a pita. Yeah.
Well,
Which
we
is-
said, I mean, basically a wrap is nothing but a cold burrito.
Correct.
It's a cold burrito.
Right.
Yeah, everything's kind of roughly
The
same,
world is
just-
really upside down right now. I think.
No, it's not.
And yet there's unlimited amounts of food that you can have. You can take some weird shit
Yeah,
these days and
yeah,
make it artsy and be like,
So you agree with me? It's flat then. It's just upside down at this point.
It's possible.
The Earth is a
it's
pizza.
possible. It's very possible.
Hashtag Earth is a pizza.
Listen, you make a good case. We're in a food moment, right? Obviously, like the world is in this food moment. Do you think maybe we're in this food moment because we're all collectively just like fucking depressed eating, and we're just like we're all gonna die.
I got a
We're
question,
doomed.
like,
I'm just
is
gonna
that-
eat everything, drink everything.
is our food scene in America with how broken up and how crazy it is and all the different things, is that an American thing because of all the people coming into this country, or in like they have these same insane food scenes around any other country? Like, does France have a
Yes.
crazy Italian food scene and stuff like that?
I think it's happening everywhere.
it's everywhere?
I think it's
But-
not an American phenomenon.
But the problem,
I just wonder that because with how many different diversity we have here and all the insane
Because
amount
now
of
there's food travel, like you saw the taco thing on Netflix. I forget what it was called.
Street
Taco
food?
Chronicles.
Oh,
They
Dude,
did-
Netflix
they-
has nothing but comedians and food stuff right now.
So Chef's Table, which is like the artfully done chef-driven show, right? It's like chef's classical music, slow motions, very
Yeah.
cinematic. They did
Salt being one
Correct.
grain at
right,
a time.
Totally. They did that with tacos, right? So they go around the world to the best taco places. And it's like what's driving these hot taco places is tourism. Somebody's going to,
But is there
like,
Mexican
travel.
food in Asia? Like, does Japan have Mexican food? Does China have Mexican food?
I think it's only a matter of time.
Because what would be American food? Burgers and barbecue? It's got to be barbecue.
burgers. The problem with America is we don't have food culture the way other countries have it. What I mean is we're such a melting pot And yeah, burgers are what is America. When Italians come here to visit us, they don't want to eat anything other than burgers because that's an American.
They don't want Buca di Beppo.
That's an American thing. But what I mean by we lack food culture is that everywhere in the world, people have grown up having regional dishes that were part of their region, whereas every regional dish that we have in America, pretty much, we've stolen from another region. You know, Creole food, New York food, Chicago food. It's all a muddled mess of everything combined together.
That's what America is.
But
Yeah.
Italian food, which you're serving in, you know, when you're having horse sauce, when you're having the freaking horse bolognese.
2 bologneses.
But that's their history.
I'm really glad that hasn't made its way over.
This is thousands of years of history of them cooking it in this region, or the carpaccios, or the, you know, it's part of that town or that region. When you're in France, there's districts where crepes are huge. They have crepes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they have dinner crepes, you know?
But that's still French food in its own way. Like America is, I can go eat Mexican, Greek, and Italian in the same day if I really wanted to. And then hit 18 other. We can go to the Ethiopian place down the street. There's the Indian place. You can go get Burmese food.
Right.
Like,
So fast forward 100, 200 years. What's the American food that
Burgers.
is taken
barbecue something. I think barbecue.
Yeah, smoke.
I don't know that
Or
people are
fried.
that
Is
interested.
fried an American thing? Like fry, like KFC,
I hope it's Italian
Popeye-
beef, 'cause I love an Italian
Popeyes
beef.
wins the war on everything with their chicken sandwich.
I think that's part of it. But we were talking with Youssef, and he went to London, and he's like, where should I get some good London food? And they're like, well, there's an Indian place right up the street. And he's like, I don't want Indian. I want
Nobody
English food.
wants English food.
Yeah, and that's
Nobody has ever went.
That's what
Damn,
they
that's
told
the
them."
best bangers and mash I've ever had. Nobody sat around having corned beef and cabbage.
I
and
love me
bland
some
potatoes.
bangers and mash.
Oh God.
You know, I'm bet.
The only good thing that England ever gave to the world was America.
Wow, that's coming from an English.
I'm an Englishman.
Yeah.
And some great
Right.
music and just
I was gonna
salty
say
comebacks.
I was gonna
Salty,
say
grimy
bands.
comebacks.
I don't know. You kind of win on bands.
You know,
Yeah.
I grew up in a traditional Czechoslovakian family. My grandmother cooked
you guys
traditional
brought nothing to this.
Czechoslovakian food. We cooked pierogies. We did a lot of braised pork dishes, a lot of cabbage dishes. My grandmother made pig's feet jello, stujanina. Stujanina was literally boiling baby pig's hooves to make jello and made gelatin out of it, and she'd flavor it with fruit, and that was what we ate as kids. It looks to people today go, ooh, that's gross. Well, that's what jello is.
Right.
But it was homemade Czechoslovakian version of it.
You and your horses, man.
I know. This guy,
No, I do
this guy
like-
loves a hoof.
One thing I do like a lot is that how well wine pairs with cultures of food that don't have any wine. Like, for instance, Thai food goes so well with Rieslings and Gewürztraminers. And there's no way they're ever going to have any of that grown in their country. But yet it's just one of those perfect pairings. I mean,
That's interesting, right?
Yeah, like Taco Festival. What would have been
French fries and champagne. I mean, I guess
French
they are.
fries and
Well, I guess
champagne.
they are.
Yellowtail, Pinot Grigio.
Well, I guess French
Delicious.
fries are French.
They're now freedom fries, Damien.
Okay, so
Aren't they Dutch, by the way?
I don't
Or is that
even
just
know.
waffle fries? I don't know.
I know carrots are Dutch. Do you know
Really?
that?
No.
Yep. Well, because they colored them. That's why they're orange.
Oh.
Carrots aren't naturally orange.
Aren't they
color
like
are they?
white and purple?
They're all different. They're all sorts of colors, but they bred orange into them to match the Dutch colors.
God, I knew I hated orange carrots.
One less reason for eating carrots.
Right.
Damn.
That's why we go to the markets now. There's all these
freaky,
heirloom
deaky
varietals
Dutch
that
bastards.
are
Right.
white and they're purple with like white centers and different, because those are like the traditional colors of them, the real colors, the heirloom colors.
So what other food festivals are going on that you are ready to rock and roll
Doing
with?
the donut festival the day after the pizza festival
The day after, okay.
on the same site. So the thinking was the pizza vendors don't want to do a second day, right?
Yeah.
So what could I do that doesn't require a lot of cooking on site? Because if there's cooking on site, that's a lot of loading in morning of, right? It gets kind of crazy. So nobody's going to cook donuts on site. So they're thinking everybody just make donuts at their place and then bring them to the festival and have a donut fest, and it sold out before the gates even opened. It was crazy.
Do you pair with like the coffee people too to do stuff? Like
A lot of coffee people. Yeah, mimosa bars did great.
600 extra police officers around.
Right.
I feel like you should have some stout like beers too.
Yeah.
Ooh, actually, that's not a bad idea.
Because when I think coffee, I think stouts too.
Well, think about it like a donut, because I mean, how many different varieties of a donut? You have the donut ball, the donut itself. What is that technically?
That's
a beignet.
So that's a French cruller.
French cruller.
Yeah. So a French cruller is a type of donut. It's got those like ridges on the side. So you'll see them in donut shops. There'll only usually be one glazed version of a French cruller. It's filled with air and it's got this like crisp.
It's delicious.
It's so I brought them from this lady, the beignet babe. I think she doesn't know that her actual business is French crullers. She makes a hell of a beignet.
Because they look like beignets, right?
What is a beignet? Technically a French donut?
Well, yeah, but it's like a
Puffy.
pocket. Yeah, it's
pocket.
puffy, and it's usually covered in powdered sugar. But these are kind of glazed with maple or chocolate or something that in there it gets crispy.
I know only a few things because my girlfriend watches the Great British Bake Off show on Netflix, and they always like, make a beignet today. And you're just like, oh, God.
Right.
And they make the most crazy amounts of donut. I never realized there was a whole culture of donut eating.
Yeah, you know what's weird? The
Clearly,
donut
there's a judge.
the Donut Festival Instagram page is followed mostly by fitness fanatics.
Really?
I'm
Their
guessing,
guilty pleasure?
I think it's their cheat day food because if you go on their accounts, there's always pictures of them posing with donuts. They're like, "Look how ripped I am, and I'm eating this donut."
Because I'm sure it's an empty carb that can burn kind of maybe pretty fast too.
Would be my guess.
I don't know.
Eat a donut before you go work out. There you go.
Right.
Have some donuts and go do some yoga.
Or they're just doing it for the gram and they don't even eat it. They
That's
just
a
take
good
the
point.
picture.
Trash it.
Have you ever been to the place up in Portland? It's super famous.
Voodoo? I have not. No.
We have a place here that's a couple
Alien.
places, don't we have that are like
We have a
Heard
lot
Alien
of,
donut was
we have
really
a
popular.
serious donut scene here.
Really?
I mean, when you think about Bosa donuts,
I was just going to say, there's a whole store.
yeah, there's nobody in this country has a Bosa donuts in terms of a place that is like 40 locations run by one guy, that makes donuts that good.
Well,
like, have you
remember-
had the apple fritter at Bosa?
I'm not a donut person,
Dude.
but I feel like I might have to try.
You got to try the apple
still
fritter.
don't
I'll
understand
come,
how
I'll
you're
come to the festival either way to try all these donuts.
I still don't understand how he's not like 300 pounds.
That's what I'm saying. But yet we can't make him the donut guy.
It's
He doesn't
Fred the
look like-
tapeworm.
He
I
doesn't
told
look
you,
like
it's-
Michelin tire, dude. Fred
Right.
the tapeworm.
I've had this tapeworm since I was in college.
Man, he
I
just
feed
shits
him
on my
He's
way.
dinged
Dinged
him.
him.
Yeah. Good for you, Fred.
Totally. My cholesterol is probably a mess. My triglycerides are
Pizza,
like
French
I
fries,
think Fred keeps that in
donuts.
check too.
right.
Oh, that's so great.
The guy who runs the Chicken Coop. It's a food truck in town. Frank Bolosic. He's a chef who has a fried chicken food truck. He went to go get his like yearly physical, and he's like, his doctor's like, your triglycerides are like 2,000. You should have been dead like 3 years ago with that
Yeah.
kind of, like some crazy ass number. So now he's like in his truck just eating salad. He looks so pissed all the time.
So imagine making such good food and knowing you can't eat it or
I
you'll
know
die.
you're just frying this chicken all day and you can't touch it.
So can you comment what you think is the best donut place in town, or are you trying to be Switzerland in this?
Or what does it rhyme with?
I can't name a
Dosa.
favorite because I'm in the business.
How
right?
many syllables
But-
is it? What does it rhyme?
Here's what I can tell you.
Go ahead. Mouth it to us.
Yes. I appreciate that Bosa does not upcharge for an apple fritter when you are putting together a dozen. Most places that's a 50-cent or $1 upcharge because you're adding like 2 glazed, 3 sprinkled, whatever, and then you add the apple fritter. That's a quote unquote fancy.
Yeah.
So then that's an extra buck, not a Bosa.
I like that. Well, remember when Krispy Kreme came out here and there was like a 5-year period where people lost their mind and had to have every Krispy Kreme donut, and now there's only one left, I think, down by AZ Mills.
Yeah, 2, but it's a solid.
And one's in a mall, probably.
It's a great glazed donut.
That's it, though.
Because they came out hot. That was the whole thing about it. That people loved the fact you got them and they were warm. Like you waited in line just to get those warm donuts.
Right.
Meanwhile, they were probably terrible cold. No? I don't know. I'm not a donut person.
Most donuts disintegrate pretty fast. Like this pizza that I brought, like it's a New York slice, that could still be on your counter 2 days from now, and I'd still eat that. But a donut,
Can you do that
tomorrow morning?
Is that all donuts or like specific styles?
I don't have the science behind that, but
What-
my guess is that it's most donuts don't hold up.
Is donut American made? Like, I mean, like the idea of a donut started in America, or was it like made in Belgium or France or somewhere, and then we kind of
I
just
think it has
adapt
to
our
do
own
with something
style?
in Europe. I mean, a lot of that whole fried thing. I mean, even the Mexicans did the fry breads.
I thought,
You know,
I thought it
fried
was Indian
doughs.
fried bread.
Right.
Yeah. I just wonder where like donuts
and a churro
were a
is
thing.
like probably in the
Oh, yeah.
family
Yeah.
of, you know what I mean?
Dude, churros from Disneyland were the shit. Those were so fantastic growing up. I'm still blown away. I don't have diabetes or weigh 400 pounds with the amount of crap I ate as a kid.
Maybe have a tapeworm. You should name them.
Right. It is kind of so
Pizza, tapeworms to all people out there will stop you from getting fat.
Right. So Pizza and Donut Fest are in November, and then I used to have Taco Fest in October. So it was right about this time of year that I'm eating nothing but tacos, pizza, and donut. So I highly recommend to people to get a tapeworm, because if you're going to get into the food festival throwing business,
Can you order one online?
you get Amazon.
Just go eat some food in some shitty part of the city.
So they're free.
You're so quick. Amazon.
I think they live forever, by the way. So what else is there? So we have obviously the old Taco Fest you used to, but you have the pizza, the French fry, the donut. Do you have any
I have French fry
dreams for I would say salad festival, but that would be just not pretentious and douchey.
Not doing it.
What other food group would there be to do? Hot dog?
Talked about a hot dog fest. We'll see.
You could do like bratwurst.
There's a lot of different,
like sausage and bratwurst.
Like a meat festival. Oh, that's not something you want to throw as a meat festival. That could get out of hand and illegal real quick.
Gonna litmus test something with you.
Meatballs.
Meatball festival.
Jan Diatry's talked to me about a meatball fest.
Yeah, you can give out the award for the best balls in town.
The biggest balls, the smallest balls.
It's two hands holding up two balls as the trophy.
Best balls in Phoenix, 4-time winner.
So you get the biggest balls, you get the tiniest balls.
Yeah. Sauciest
so much
balls,
so much we could do with
driest
this.
balls,
I will never not sauce my balls.
densest balls.
I learned my lesson.
Like
The first place trophy is both balls up. The second place has one ball a little bit lower than the other.
I love that.
Dude, I'm loving. I love the idea of a meat, like some type of meat-based one, like a hot dog, bratwurst, meatball one. Like, I know it's
Because you're not you're not a vegan. That's why.
No,
Right,
yeah. I mean, I've never heard of a tofu festival. I know they exist somewhere.
Not going to that.
but I'm not about to have that.
Slider fest I'd go to in a heartbeat.
Slider
You need to
fest.
make it easy, and it's got to be hand food. Like it's got to be
Yeah,
something.
so I've been
that's-
talking about a sandwich fest.
Like a little, yeah. Well, isn't that be kind of a slider fest?
Kinda similar, but now you're talking lobster rolls and deli sandwiches. and
That
all kinds
lobster
of-
truck is so good.
Cousins.
Is it Cousins? Dude, it's expensive.
the
but
main
damn.
lobster lady?
Main lobster lady. That's
Oh, there's
it.
main lobster lady, and then there's Cousins. Cousins actually was from Shark Tank, and they're
Yeah,
and,
those are
they're,
both
and, they're,
great.
and they're franchises.
Dude, they're so good. Yeah, I mean, there's I guess a lot you could do with it. I like the French fry festival. I'm excited for that one
So,
when April comes around.
I sometimes consult at the Street Eats Food Truck Fest, which is out at Salt River Fields, and Maine Lobster Lady. You can go to this lady's truck like whenever, but there's like this like tradition for people to wait outside the gate before the gates open at Street Eats, and then once they do, they all run to the Maine Lobster Lady because her line queues up, and then she's got a line like an hour and a half long at the festival. It's so funny, and people will like.
Does she
trample
sell
each
out
other.
though too, or does she have enough?
She's
usually?
got
So
she's
hidden
got trucks
hidden
full of
gem.
lobster. Yeah.
Hidden gem. She goes to the the Tempe Art Festival, and she's back down an alley that nobody fucking goes down to.
I love that.
They stuff three trucks in this one little spot, and it is in between the mill garage. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just saying they're there, and they're right by our tent that we put out. And every time she comes rolling in, and there's no line ever, and it's fantastic.
If we we'll have to try and get her for some random wine shop someday.
Yeah. Pull up on the side. Maybe have a little bit.
Maybe if there's like parking for her, it could work.
I
Or she's
imagine.
gonna have like a $5,000 minimum.
It's fine.
You know,
I mean, most of these
$22 sandwich
Yeah, no
worth
joke.
every penny
100%.
because it's all claw. She's claw and knuckle meat. There's no tail meat in her
Really?
lobster roll. I'm pretty sure. At least I know
I didn't realize that was a difference of meats, I
Tarbell is
guess.
all claw and knuckle. That's the best meat for a lobster roll.
This Chianti's fantastic, by the way.
I never had it before, but so going back to wine real quick. One thing we always talk about is importers and how important importers are. If you don't know what you're getting, if you want a French wine, go to the store and buy wines from Kermit Lynch. They're the best French importer out there. Or also I like Skurnik. When it comes to white wines from France or Germany or Austria, a lot of times Skurnik is one of the top producers. Skurnik brings in all the grower champagne. They're the Musset. Mm-hmm. They bring in the Brundelmeyer. They bring the Donhoff. That's all them. So I find it really funny that they did something with this bottle. They actually have it on the front,
Yeah, the
which I've never seen this. So by law, you always have to have the importer on the back label. You rarely ever see it, but it's becoming a trend with Kermit Lynch, as people are saying, this is one of the top quality importers, and
This
if
is
you don't know what you're
interesting, yeah.
buying,
Yeah, I didn't know
buy Kermit Lynch or Vias. when I worked for Vias, I used to always tell people, just find the Vias logo. If the Vias logo is on the back of an Italian wine, you're guaranteed it's going to be good. They don't have a bad wine in the book. So if you're looking for a Chianti, you're looking for a Barolo, you're looking for something from Sicily, and you're looking at a bunch of shit you don't even know what the hell it is, buy Vias. French, I go to Kermit Lynch, but I find it really funny that they actually put Kermit Lynch on the front of this as a promotional thing. Some people are putting scores on the front of their labels, 92 points enthusiast, 96 points this. I don't like that. I think it's really funny they did this because they obviously know the trend. They must have been listening to our podcast. And
Back in 2013.
right. But they're using this as a selling point to say, we are Kermit Lynch. We bring in the best stuff. I'd never had this producer before. I don't know much about this producer, so I can't really comment on where it comes from, besides the fact that it is Chianti Classico. But Chianti and pizza is perfect.
Right.
I don't think I've ever had even cheap wicker basket Chianti is damn good with pizza.
Right. It's smart for Kermit Lynch to do this because, like, for instance, if I go to Phoenix Wine Co., I don't have to think about what I'm buying. Just whatever I'm pull off the shelf, I know that they've selected something that I'm going to be down with.
Yeah, absolutely.
My palate is just somehow aligned with whatever they're picking. So it's a similar thing with Kermit Lynch, right?
Yep.
Like they're the qualifier for me if I like that type of thing.
Maybe that's something that would be great for food festivals later down, is to do like specific pairings of these foods go with the wines go with the food that we're having. You're doing a French fry festival. Well, we're just bringing in nothing but champagne and high acid whites. Like that's it, because that is what's best for this festival kind of a thing. Or pilsners maybe. Donut festival, porters, coffees, stouts, things like that would go with it. Instead of having like a
but there's always going to be
cabinet
somebody who
donut.
wants to Michelob Ultra, and I got to get that guy.
Well, you're true. You always have the one Bud Light that's hanging out there.
I forget where. I think I did this event. I think it was up at True North or something. It was kind of along the lines of like a little mini Devoured in a way. They had multiple restaurants set up in like a courtyard, and they actually paired the wineries with a table of the food. And they gave us a list, said, okay, what wines you have? These are the 5 restaurants. Which restaurant do you think your wines are going to work best with? And they put us with that restaurant, which I guess, because Devoured, it's just a madhouse. You're just pounding wine and chugging food, or the other way around.
I think in a festival, right. In a festival scenario, it's tough to pull that off.
It is.
I should say it's tough for the consumer to actually stop and like get their bite and walk over to the wine, which might have a line, and now they want to eat. There's too many variables to make that pairing
I guess
happen.
I could see that. You're right. Especially if you're like, well, I got to eat and drink with this. Then you walk to the next table and you still have your drink. And you're like, well, shit, I got to move to the next one. And
you can't carry your little plate. You can't drink your wine. And they might want to stop and then ask me about the wine. And the person behind him is like, move along. I got to. You're right. So that could be very difficult. Logistically.
It's more food driven. Just here's the food. Here's like our selection of beer for you. Do you have that is the Donut Festival going to have drinks there, or is this strictly just food?
Yeah, no, there's drinks. There's drinks at every festival.
Got to be.
I start with the drinks.
Start with the drink. Make sure you get those vendors first.
Yeah, right.
What does the Pizza Festival and the Donut Festival run the same time, or are you doing the Donut Festival in the morning?
Yeah, so Donut Fest was 11 to 3 last year, so it cut out 2 hours earlier than Pizza Fest. I sold 3,500 tickets. Everybody was there at 11, and everybody was gone by 12:30. Because they ate all their donuts and then they crashed.
Oh God, yes, that's
sugar crash.
Hard sugar crash.
Yeah, the event was crickets, and I normally don't book like a bigger band, and I booked Jared and the Mill to close out that festival, and I was so excited because to finally book Jared and the Mill, that was cool. And nobody was really there.
So you gotta like reverse that. Like, hey, you're opening, which sounds weird.
Yeah.
And then the new local whatever band gets the end of the day.
Exactly. So we're opening an hour earlier at 10 a.m. and we're selling a late ticket for cheaper.
Oh, okay.
So that first ticket will sell out, and then you can come in at noon for $2 cheaper.
Do you have people run out of foods and stuff? Or
No, I mean donuts.
They bring a lot.
Like you could think of how you can make so many donuts.
Yeah.
And they're all made ahead of time. So I guess technically they could run out, but I ask the vendors how much they have. And assuming people eat like 3 to 4 donuts at the festival, right? I thought going into last year, people would eat 6 donuts. They ate an average of 2 or 3. I was really disappointed in Phoenix.
That's a lot of sugar. I mean,
2 to 3 donuts? Come on, Phoenix.
Dude,
These French crullers that I brought,
we're not
I
in
could eat
Texas
3 of
or the
those.
South.
I bought 6 French crullers today. Do you know how many I brought in? 3. That tells you something.
Car ride over was only 2 minutes.
I know. I'm so disappointed in this town sometimes. You can do better. You can eat more.
What if you just got a complimentary tapeworm with your ticket?
Right. Like a little packet and you just swallow it like a little test tube or something. That sounds awesome. Dave DiLorenzo, my insurance guy, I got to talk to him about that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Or us too, maybe at some point in time.
We invent something on every show.
I don't think we invented the
Tapeworm insurance? No, tapeworm insurance.
I mean, it's just a cheap. It's a perfect fad diet. Why have Atkins? Why do keto? Why do intermittent fasting when you could have a tapeworm do all the work for you?
Just eat
Listen,
what
that's
you
a
want.
perfect commercial.
It's just an add-on to the ticket. It's $10 for the ticket. It's $12 if you want the tapeworm with it.
Yeah, we'll throw in a T-shirt.
Hey, welcome. Enjoy Fred. He'll live in you for
Right.
the rest of your life. He'll take care of you.
Right. There's a diagram of a donut with like a little tapeworm going in and out of it.
No, for the French fries, it looks like a curly fry, but it's just a tapeworm.
Right. It's so funny.
Hey, we didn't
Yeah.
bring it back to the bathroom, so
Yeah.
that might be it.
What food festival or what food do you guys think needs a festival?
I mean, I really like the idea of the sandwiches and sliders. I mean, I could eat tons and tons of sliders. I mean, that's just something all day long. I mean, White Castle all day long. I mean, you
Right.
grew up back
They're
there. I mean,
they're opening soon.
Yeah.
Like a couple weeks, right?
I thought it was already open. No? Medieval, there's the Medieval Times next door too, but I don't know, festival wise, I mean, you nailed the big ones. Sandwiches are probably the best one next, like the little individual little things you can get, because you could have so much fun with those.
Right.
I mean, you could have endless amounts of people bringing in things.
I think about stuff that's at fairs, stuff that's on a stick, something you can eat.
A stick festival.
Right, but I mean something that, dude, they got French onion soup on a stick that they serve at the frickin'. Look at the look he just gave me at the Wisconsin Fair. It's the number one item at the Wisconsin Fair is French onion soup on a stick.
Oh, I figured it would just be butter, but
Right.
I thought it was too. That's why I googled it. and
It's certain death. That's what they call it.
I was guaranteeing that number 1, 2, and 3 for the most sold items at the Wisconsin Food Festival was to be like fried butter, and fried butter.
deep fried Oreos.
Well, deep fried Twinkies, stuff like that. And they're
Right.
like, no, it's French onion soup on a stick is like their most famous thing.
Right.
I think you should do a what the fuck festival. WTF.
Okay.
You make whatever you want, but it can't be like a sandwich. It's got to be so weird and out of left field that it's just you sit there and go, what the fuck? And then when you eat it, you go, oh, that's really amazing. What the fuck?
Huh.
WTF festival.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah.
It's a good idea.
It's an idea. It's just an idea. It's one of those many things that you'll do something eventually.
It's an idea.
Yeah, it's an idea.
It's an idea.
Well, I can't wait for a specific mezcal festival to be happening in my stomach at one point.
Right. Right.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I did a tequila it's more of an event than a festival a few years ago. It
we
was
went.
called Taste
You,
Tequila.
you gave us
Taste
you gave us
Tequila.
you gave us tickets.
Yeah, right on. At what's that place called? The venue in Scottsdale.
Yeah,
Some
because they
shit.
had the people hanging and swinging. And,
Yeah,
God,
right.
it was
That was a fun
fantastic.
little night, right? Like,
It was for some people.
I was hammered in the first 4 tables.
my man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were having a bad day that day.
I was having a bad day. That
And
was a terrible day.
I was like, hey, I got an extra ticket to this. Why don't you go?
Oh, it's fantastic. I miss that place being what it is.
Well, do you guys have anything else you want to add? You want to wrap this up?
Yeah.
Sounds good. No.
The
Heck
wines
yeah.
were great.
Yeah. Is there a
Fun
bathroom
conversation.
attendant here at the studio?
You can just go ahead and leave a 5 on the counter.
I'll sit in there if you want and hang out with you.
Right. I need some cologne, some gum before I go.
I
Gum
do,
festival.
I do have some cool water and Fahrenheit back there.
There's
I'll hook you up.
bars of soap.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool. Well,
I'm
we
good.
really look forward to the festivals. Wish you a ton of success.
Yeah, November 16th for pizza and November 17th for the donut.
That's right.
Find it at phoenix.pizza,
That's
which is
crazy.
a fantastic
That's awesome.
website.
Yeah, right. This has been really fun.
Yeah, we'll do
You
it
guys had
again.
a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
David Tyda, everybody. Thank you so much for
The
listening.
man, the myth, the legend.
Come on.
Excellent.
See ya.
Bye,
Awesome.
guys.
Cheers.
Love you.